My name is Marcus. I'm the compiler of a collection of therapy quotes entitled 1001 Windmills of the Mind. A collection of advanced self-help quotes taken from what's often called the psychodynamic or the psychoanalytic perspective, which long ago, as I understand it, was referred to by some as philosophical medicine or narrative medicine, helping one to find their narrative truth, their narrative story, their story, helping one to be their own story doctor, to know our story, to be our own psychological detective, existential detective, know thyself detective, emotional detective. What are we talking about here? Why do we need to be a psychological detective? Why not just enjoy life kind of thing? Well, if you got a secure attachment style as a baby, and you went through a developmental process known as the separation individuation process due to one's needs being met, primal needs being met, the main one being what's called a secure attachment style. So if the person had a secure attachment style, okay, and there are 5 parts to it, and they had their needs met during that period, that critical period from birth to 3, and they got their needs met according to where along that time continuum between birth and 3, and they got their needs met, and they achieved, due to the safety with the mother, due to the trust and safety with the mother, and the positive interaction with the mother, and the extended blissful oneness with the mother, and her reverie and her presence, her soothing and all this, and giving the child a sense of safety to allow him to know himself as distinct from her. Because in the beginning it's all blurred up, it's all meshed up. Baby doesn't know where he begins and ends, where the mother begins and ends. So if he feels safe, he can kind of hatch out of that blurredness. Okay, and that hatching starts at 4 to 5 months, assuming he felt safe prior to that. Then he hatches out and goes through the so-called separation individuation process. So we've talked about that a few times already. So ballpark age 3, if his needs are met during that time, he achieves what's basically ballpark approximation. The child achieves what's called a psychological birth, meaning he has a conscious ego of him being connected to himself. His feelings, his golden ball is there. Yeah, I'm doing this in a public place here. You might see me distracted a few times. Staff have to do their preparations and things. Yeah, sorry about that. I'm still hoping to find a nice venue, closed, like a nice unused meeting room that nobody's using, that the manager might let me be able to use. As long as there's AC, that's all I ask for, or a fan, that's good enough. So until that time, I'm bouncing around in coffee shops and hotel lobbies, yesterday I did one outdoors. It's getting really hot now. It's 35, 36 officially, but with the heat index, it's in the mid to high 40s now. It's starting now, right? With the sweltering heat. Yeah, sometimes it takes me a while to calm down if the staff get a little too excited or something. Okay. Okay. So let me do my disclaimer here. I have anxiety, obviously. I have been analyzed. I haven't been analyzed. I would love to. I think we all know it takes a small fortune to be able to do this process. But if I had the funds, I'd be on the next flight to New York probably, and find an analytic shrink kind of thing. Someone like Masterson, well, he passed away. Someone like him, and do a full analysis. Meaning, find your story, and you need help to find your story. We have blind spots when we try to quote-unquote self-analyze ourselves. We don't see ourselves, so you need help sometimes. But we can do as much as we can by making inferences, using these theories, these quotes and so on. So we now have 10,000 quotes from the psychoanalytic tradition, the know thyself perspective, which has been around for thousands of years. So 10,000 quotes sort of like this. Some of them are shorter, some of them are longer. We now have 10,000 quotes. In this video we'll be doing TQ, therapy quote TQ 2783, sort of a part 2 a continuation of yesterday's video on the talionic phenomenon. Challenging topic. So this topic on the talionic so-called impulse or feeling or response or whatever they call it, talionic phenomena. So it started in yesterday's video, 2783, the outdoor one, and we'll continue it here in 83. Sorry, it started yesterday with 82, and here in 83 we'll continue it. And I'm also going to review a little bit yesterday's material to kind of update a little bit. So before we get into this talionic thing, a challenging topic, I've heard the phrase, we have all heard the phrase a gajillion times, eye for an eye, and eye for an eye makes everybody blind, so we're kind of aware of it. But it turns out it's still going on kind of in a subtle way. So let's maybe see if we can glean some kind of enriched understanding of this covert hate, let's say. So again, hate just means that the baby's needs were met. All hate means, anger, hate, all that means is that the baby's needs didn't get met. If his needs are met, he feels good, he feels pleasant. Okay, FNN, feelings and needs are linked. If the needs are met, the child will feel pleasant, obviously. If the baby's needs are not met, okay, the pleasant feelings will zoop away. So in the Disney film Inside Out, we saw joy and sadness zoop away, and then anger was at the console. So that's like a regression back to the survival brain. And technically, many people think anger and fear and all that, that's not really even feelings. Although we call anger and fear feelings and emotions, technically they're more about the sensations of the stress response to stress, right? So it's more about the survival area. So that Disney film, that 2015 Disney film called Inside Out, shows everybody a very basic thing. Okay, the two categories or groupings of feelings related to our minds, our different minds. So we have three minds. Now the third one is the thinking cap. So we don't say feelings are in there. The third mind, the newest mind of ours, makes us speak and understand time and create things and speak and communicate and write things down and so on. So that's our thinking cap, okay, which we grew 100,000 years ago, and then we call ourselves Homo sapiens, right? That was like an evolutionary development over on top of the previous two brains that were prior. So we have three brains, right? The famous triune brain, or the 3-in-1 brain. We have three brains. So the third brain is the newest brain. It's mainly about ideation and ideas and philosophies and book knowledge and reading and speaking and understanding. So we don't say feelings in there, right? It makes us conscious of our feelings. It makes us conscious of what's going on in the first two brains. Now the middle one is the key one. The middle brain is mainly us. That's the mammal brain, the chimpanzee brain, the monkey brain. Nickname, just nickname. Right? So human brain, monkey brain, and the first brain, that more primitive one, okay, that's more like sensations and visceral responses to automatic nervous system stress response. Its language is biology, it's neurochemistry and all that, right? And the only thing in the first brain's quote-unquote mind, let's say, is survival. That's all it cares about, right? So that's the spine, and the tip of the spine, the brainstem. It's kind of like a mind, right? It's kind of like a brain. That's the first brain, that old ancient primitive brain. But you know, billions, millions, billions. We evolved. On top of that, we became mammals, warm mammals, right? So that's the middle brain. So we're mainly that middle one, right? And then there's all the wide range of feelings, needed feelings, appropriate feelings. Joy runs the console. Joy can step aside, let sadness run the console to admit when there's a loss, and then we can feel badly if there's a mistake, make reparation, and affection, tenderness, trust, warm relating, and kind of joy, and all the nuances of joy, and being generative when you're older, and sharing and giving. And the temperament is kind of a warm, friendly. There's play, not at anybody's expense, of course. The humor is kind of playful as well. It's a joyful expression, celebration of our uniqueness, and so on. So that's like the more quote-unquote human side of being human. So everybody's safe, everybody's one family, and the temperament is warm, calm, easygoing, kind of playful like that, right? I just saw a clip of a dog golden retriever at a ski hill, and his buddies were like the humans were all skiing down the hill and all this, and he was at the top. The dog doesn't have skis, right? But he wanted to play with the others, right? So you saw the dog jostling around a little bit, trying to figure out how can he slide down the hill. So he finally tilted himself, tilted on the side, and used his own body like a sled, like a toboggan, and he slid down the hill, the snow hill. It's the funniest thing, one of the funniest things I've seen. So he wanted to play with his human friends and all this. So it's like a fun little thing. So that's mainly our middle brain. So our feelings are there, our amness is there, our ontological sense of self is there. I feel that for amness. Okay, so the serene, inexhaustible fullness of being, our beingness. So if we have our beingness, we feel that serene, calm, pleasurable feeling, right? And the sereneness or the joy or the bluebird of happiness, Shirley Temple says, that's sort of like the baseline, regular, normal, animating emotion when we have, when we're connected with our middle brain, when we're connected with ourselves. Okay, so so Jana puts it this way: we have 3 brains, 3 memory systems, or 3 minds, 3 lines of consciousness. The nickname, just for fun, the nickname for the first brain that people call the salamander brain, the crocodile brain, the it's not about feelings. There's no oxytocin there. It's just the instinct and the visceral sensations of the survival and reproduction. Right? So just sort of like cold-blooded like that. There's no warmth or love or anything like that. It's just it only cares about survival, basically. So that's our like an old ancient kind of brain that we have within us, of course, and we need it because maybe there's an earthquake or something, got to run, so we got to survive. Right? But mainly we're mainly the mammal, right? That feeling self. So there's a sense of being in your body, at home within. Okay, so where do you come from? Within, like your home. I come from within. We come from this mammal. They call it embodiment. Kristen Wilson says if you're not in your body, you're not making sense anymore, literally. And it's disembodied discourse that causes all these confusions or problems out there. Because with disembodied discourse, you're scrambling around trying to grasp and get back your embodiment. Because we live to the extent that we feel. You need your embodiment to feel. If you don't have your embodiment, you're not really feeling. You only have the sensations of the fear and the anger and disgust. In the Disney film, it was fear, anger, disgust. Disgust was mainly about, for most of the film, about the physiological responses to distaste and dissmell. Yeah, last time I was here, they were really busy preparing for a big buffet for an event. Looks like they're busy again here as well. Yeah. Let me change arms here. We see that when Joy and Sanus got subdue, that's because the needs for the baby's identity, his ontological self, weren't met. So that's his authentic identity. That's his authentic self. His sense of self, his embodiment. Okay? So if you don't feel like you're in your body, you feel homeless, kind of thing. You feel empty like that. So that's a pain like that. And we live to the extent that we feel. Now, when we say feel here in this context, we mean the golden ball area of feelings connected to your embodiment, your sense of self. And if you don't have your sense of self, therefore you're not going to have your feelings. I feel, therefore I am. No amness, no feelings. Then in that case, you're going to go back to the first brain, the first line primitive brain, the archaic primitive brain that's only about survival. Again, that's mostly about sensations, and then the philosophies around it will be like either or thinking, my greedy, your greed, and very simplistic mentalities kind of thing. And a lot of personality patterns can develop around trauma inflicted in that first brain. So we don't want babies traumatized because that goes into that first brain, and they develop personality around that trauma in the first brain. They go through life with a survival mentality and all their slogans like my greedy, your greed, and I'm good, you're not good, and they feel no good. Well, they'll say you're no good, because they've identified with the mother who told them they're no good. So in trauma, they identify with the aggressor to have a mother and then treat others the way they were treated. That keeps them connected to the mother who treated them that way, but they don't want to keep feeling the pain of them hurting themselves. If mother hurt them and they become the mother, and mother hurt them, so they got to hurt themselves. Well, the trick is they'll find proxies to play them and then shame them to distract them of the feeling of them shaming themselves. Okay? When they believe that their shame self, someone else possesses it, called projection. So that's the proxy phenomenon. You find a non-threatening innocent other to represent your lost innocence and shame them, because you're really trying to shame yourself. But the trick is you don't want to feel that you're shaming yourself, so your attention is outward like that, to not feel that you're shaming yourself. You shame someone else to trick you to not be aware that you're shaming yourself, so you got to shame someone else. A little trick like that called the projection, okay, and identification with the aggressor. So the slogan will be, well, you know, okay, you're no good. And then he means himself, because mother shamed him. So, and then due to his emptiness like that, he'll take an identity back in the uterus, where he was on the throne. All babies are on the throne. Okay? Infantile megalomania, egocentricity, the glorified self, the idealized self. All babies think they're little kings and gods and all this. Everything's for them, about them, solipsism, everything's there for them. Baby doesn't understand that the mother's a separate person. The power of the mother's his power, or the mother's just there to serve the baby. He's a little king like that. So he'll revert to that old archaic place called primary narcissism, where he thinks it's just all about him. So he'll self-sufficient superiority complex. Okay. Oh yeah, I just saw some of these. Yeah, like sometimes the cat on the TV screen. They had one time here the catwalk thing. These models that walk down the catwalk. They strut with a cold, arrogant, aloof, self-superiority complex, where they feel like they're a little god and they don't need anybody, and they're self-sufficient, and they don't have any feelings, and because they're infantile god, and people are drawn to that kind of thing because they might have the same psychology. So they're like the voyeurs, and the model's the exhibitionistic display of that trauma. Boy, they're pretty noisy here today, aren't they? Jeez. And they got the full crew out here, and they got events upstairs, so I can't go upstairs. Oh, jeez. You know, if this keeps going on, I might kind of get on my nerves if this keeps going on like this. But no, they got to do their jobs. I'm just glad they kind of let me use this spot here. And that's what if I use it downstairs for a bit, maybe come back? Let's see. Wait a sec. Yeah, let me distract myself for a bit, because I think after a while it's gonna get on my nerves a little bit. The problem is, let's try downstairs. Too bad I couldn't just do it in the elevator, nice and quiet in here, eh? Oh, hang on. Ah, okay. Oh, hi there. Can I sit here for a little while? Great. Thank you. Oh, it turns out I'm on the 4th floor. Hang on, what's going on here? Let's see. Is there an event taking place here today?
Yes.
Is the, oh, you have an event here? Yeah. No. I see. Okay.
Okay, fine, because it's about to finish.
They're just about to finish?
Yes.
Really? I can sit here for a while?
Sure.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Well, she said they're just finishing, so maybe I can hang out here for a bit. Well. Okay. Okay, yeah, so that Disney film is pretty good. So when we see anger at the console, fear, by the way, is kind of easily pushed aside because the idea is that the baby would first like to flee from a mother who's mistreating him and all this, so he's scared of his mother, so he would like to flee. So that's the fear character, to run. But the baby can't flee, no motor skills, where is he gonna go? The fear part easily gets overwhelmed, and then anger kind of takes over, so to speak, because he's sort of backed in a corner. The baby can't move, so he's backed in a corner like that. So now he's in a survival mentality. Now anger, the fear turns to anger now, because with the anger, he has the hope or the fantasy that maybe he can control the mother, control the breast. The mother's the breast now, so he wants to bite the breast or something. He wants to control it, thinking if he can bite it, maybe he can control it and make it be stable and reliable. He's got to get mother's reliable presence and all this. So that's where the anger is coming from. Mother's rejecting him, so he's angry. Oh, come on, mother, be normal here. So anger kind of runs the console for a while. Well, they're not quite finished, are they? Let me go to the ground floor. But that's good to know that these guys are going to finish soon. Let me go to the ground floor. Let's wait a little bit. Let these guys clear out, and I'll come back here. Yeah. Let me take the next one. Oops. Hi, thank you. Hang in there. We got some good quotes coming up. So hang in there, or fast forward a bit, or just click the more link and you'll get the quotes below. Let's see how it is down here. That's not gonna work. Alright, let's try the second one again. Still out here. Sometimes I get lucky, it's nice and quiet. Sometimes it's choppy like this. It's very irregular. Let's see, how's it now? Oh, they're gone, okay. Hi. Okay, let's just sit here. Okay, so we've been talking about the Disney film Inside Out, 2015 film. Excellent film, just for that basic message, very basic message, that we have feelings that represent from the second brain, the feelings, a field of amness, and that's represented by joy and sadness, because joy is the main animating emotion for our beingness. Okay, and now the feeling self includes sadness because the reality is that we need a wide range of feelings. So if there's a loss, we need sadness. So joy can step aside, let sadness run the console. So we can admit the loss, acknowledge the loss. That's the natural response. Okay, and then after some time, when it's accepted, when it's admitted, kind of thing, then the event is given a time and a place. So the memory has a time and a place, kind of thing. In the show called Heck Ramsey, there's a line in there: the past is to be remembered, not lived as the present. So if you can get to that place where it's like that, then sadness can step back and joy can run the console. And joy means you're in the present, you're loving life in the present, and you're enjoying the present. You're not lingering in the past or transferring the past, trying to change the past, undo the past, or continue some unfinished business battle, struggle with the mother in the past, with people in the present as stand-ins for the mother, or finding others as proxies for you and shaming yourself because you've identified with the aggressor who shamed you. You're not doing these dysfunctional, neurotic things of transferring the past to the present, recreating, restaging the past and the present in a thing called transference acting out, where you transfer the past to the present, or symbolic acting out. And maybe this is not the best spot here. Why don't I, let's move here, hold on a second. Maybe I can move here. Is this open? Let's see. Oh, I gotta open up the whole thing here. Let's see. Hopefully they don't mind. Oh, busy, eh? How's that? Let's try that. All right, so joy runs the console. So the middle feelings, joy and sadness, right? So when joy and sadness in the Disney film got zooped away, okay, we saw them go up that little tunnel there, the tube, and twirled around. Then it went down into the repressed first brain, means it was lost. So it's recorded, but it's lost. The unconscious, like a symbol for forest, so it's in the forest, in this other world. This other world is magical. It's like not magical. It's primary process mentation, no conscious logic. That's the world of imaginal. So myths and fairy tales are an expression of that world. Okay, flip flopping and double think, and like Alice says, up is down, left is right, and the cat says, yeah, it's mad in there. Like no kind of conscious logic in there. So joy and sadness is lost, and we saw in the Disney film, joy and sadness was lost in this other magical, fantastical kind of place, right? And then at the console for the person was the sensations of the survival mentality, fear, anger, and disgust character. And of course, anger is more pronounced. Fear doesn't really have much of a say. Actually, fear kind of links to your anxiety and your OCD kind of thing. but anger is sort of the main kind of character at the console, and he's impulsive and talionic, right? And he's either or thinking, my greed or your greed, you know. So he's angry because he's trying to demand control of the mother, or he wants to show up the mother and tell the world what the mother did to him, or now simultaneously, to have some identity, he's going to blend in his regression to infantile megalomania on the throne, plus he identified with the aggressor, so he's become the shaming mother. Okay? So his true wounded self, meaning what his mother did to him, he sees onto others in the proxy, okay? And then goes through life shaming others to have an identity of being the mother who shamed him. That's his identity. So his identity, so maybe that's one way of understanding today's topic is talionic phenomena, that it gives him an identity. It gives him an identity. When the mother shamed him, he's enraged. Well, if he acts like the mother, he has some kind of identity. So he's going through life shaming others in this constant revenge mode, kind of, meaning anger at others mode. Because it's not really revenge, it's like the need to have an identity. So he blended in with the mother, and what did the mother do? The mother shamed him. So he identifies with her and shames himself. Once again, he sees himself, he's in proxies and shames them, and that's his identity. So that may be the psychology of the talionic phenomenon. So that's some authors link it together very closely, that they're kind of synonymous. Identification with the aggressor and the talionic phenomena are kind of blurred in like this. How are we doing here? Oh, these guys are busy today. Yeah, look at all this. Oh, it's much busier than usual here. Yeah. So this is an early afternoon on a weekday. Let's see, what is today again? Today's Wednesday, right? Or Thursday? Tuesday. Oh, today's Tuesday. What am I thinking? Today's Tuesday. Okay. Oh, they turned off the AC when there's no event. They turn off I noticed the AC's off, or I'm sweating already. Look how quickly the AC escapes the room, eh? Like when I was first here, it was coolish, and they were just leaving. Now it's all hot already. I'm baking already. Look at that, eh? Jesus. Maybe I can go back to. I just want to have some time to let that the other staff do their thing there. Jesus. Yeah, this is one of those days where there's so much going on. I'm barely getting in the video. But let's persist here, because we got some good quotes here. So one of the key points here is a thing called repetition compulsion. Okay, so the word of the year by the Merriam, how's the lighting? The word of the year. Is the lighting better this way? The word of the year by the Merriam-Webster Dictionary Company for last year was authentic. So the baby has an authentic identity. He's born with it. We're all given a unique, authentic self. It's emerging, and the baby has needs for its development. If it doesn't get those needs, this development arrests. It's arrested development, stunted development, developmental arrest. So his real self, his authentic real self, is frozen, stunted development. So there's your famous gap, because now he's going to develop a scaffolding of defense mechanisms to construct the false self to go through life with, or the as-if self, or made-up self, or unreal self, or adaptive self. So he can use that fake self kind of thing, this dreamy-like self, just excuses and tricks and things, to get away from the pain. So it's a self that gets you away from the pain of the trauma. And it works, and you can live in the false self mode and get 10 PhDs, get 10 medals, 10 awards and all this. But there's a gap, but we live to the extent that we feel. So this comes up, this issue is pain, but we can avoid the pain for roughly the first half of life. Then at the second half of life, it comes up, it becomes an issue now, because now we're starting to feel that pain. We can run away from the pain for so long, right? Then in midlife, a person might get a symptom, because the pain goes to the body and they get a psychosomatic symptom. Or they start making these obnoxious comments to people called Freudian slips, because they're angry at the trauma, so it's coming out. Or there's a nervous breakdown. The person has PTSD now, and the symptoms of PTSD, and they don't know why. Why did they have PTSD? Well, they had trauma. It was just sponged over with the scaffolding of the false self, personality sponge mechanism, personality phenomena. But that sponge dried out. Okay, and then, one sec. What if I, so that's where the doors are. What if I go on this end? Let's see. Oh my God, yeah, why don't I do it just here? Here it's a little better. Wow, they're still doing stuff down there. All right. So yeah, the word of the year, authentic. So this authentic self is emerging, but it's stunted. So it gets pressed down into the first line memory system, the first brain, the first mind, the first memory system. That's in the crocodile brain, the survival brain, right? And the memory is there. We're not conscious of it, but it's there. So that's amnesic memory now. Maybe we should try. Let's try the second floor again. Okay, hold on a second. Okay, so memories are relational. Memories are relational. Self and other, baby and the mother. Although it's fused and blurred, there's still two there. The baby was the passive, helpless, vulnerable victim. The mother was seen as the aggressor, active, doing to the baby, shaming the baby. Mother was shamed the baby was shamed by the mother. So there's two there, although it's all blurred up. And this unit of the memory is grooved in to that first brain, to the survival brain. There's even, they have these various names for the chemicals that kind of seal it in like that. So that's an issue, because all of the child's life force is bound up in that loop. Now that brain doesn't know time. It's timeless in it. All time is that time. The present is still the past emotionally. Yes, the false self knows it's the present, but the emotional self is stuck in the past. So from the emotional point of view, in terms of trying to get our needs met, to get mother's love, to have back our golden ball. All time is the past. So in the present, we're still going to struggle with the mother in the present, using others as stand-ins for the mother, or using others as stand-ins for ourselves, and we play the shaming mother and shame others, and we're replaying and recreating that original traumatic cycle that took place, because there's a thing called cry, everything's love or a cry for love. So if the baby does not love, doesn't have a psychological birth to express his uniqueness and loving life and all that, he's going to be crying for love. So that cry for love, it's in the brain that's timeless, it's infinite. There's no time in there, it's infinite. Finally, it's calmed down here. I can't believe it. Has it really calmed down? Jeez, yeah. Once in a while I have a day like this, where every 10 seconds there's an interruption. Huh? Once in a while I have a day like this. So there's a thing called repetition compulsion. In nature, if something's wounded, it's trying to heal. So the wound is the baby didn't get his needs met. Needs for what? It's a primal need. What primal need? The primal need is called a secure attachment style, a way of relating where the baby feels safe and has a rhythm of safety with the mother, and has a positive interaction with the mother, which he records in it, right? And it becomes a part of him. So if the mother soothes them, he can soothe himself. If the mother sees him, he can see himself. If the mother recognizes him, he can recognize himself, and so on and so forth. So he needs, because human connections lead to neural connections. The baby's brain is highly malleable, so-called plastic like that. So by the interaction with the mother, the baby's laying down an intrapsychic mapping, a blueprint, by that relationship. And if it's a problematic relationship, he's laying down a problematic blueprint and a memory where his real self freezes and he's stuck with the rejection, with the mother's rejection. Now the organism says, we got to change this. Well, get mother's love, because there's no time. But the trauma, attachment trauma, okay, betrayal trauma, tells the system, well, you got to get your needs met. But the trauma existed, the trauma took place, but there's no time. There's no time. But there's a wound there. When there's a wound, we'll get mother's love. But you didn't get mother's love. And the instinct is, well, get mother's love. But there's no time. So you're stuck in this kind of loop like that. It's an infinite timeless loop like this, because that part of the brain, that primary process mentation, doesn't know time at all. There's no sense of time there. Okay, maybe I can go back down. Let's see. So there's no time there. So all time is that time. A person can spend their whole life emotionally stuck in the past with that struggle, crying for love. Now, this cry for love takes two forms. So first of all, this cry for love is a conflict. It's an inner conflict. The baby has needs for a secure attachment style. Okay, mother's reverie, safety, and in recent videos, I went through the 5 parts of that secure attachment style. Okay, paradise in the uterus, natural birth, an extended blissful oneness from birth to 4 to 5 months, and then from 4 to 5 months to 18 months, this is part 4, and then 18 months to 36, part 5. There's 5 parts to a secure attachment style, and there's little different needs according to those 5 parts. So the baby has the need for a secure attachment style, mother's love. So when we say mother's love, we mean if the mother meets the baby's needs, he was loved. Okay, we just mean it like that, right? But the memory is he received a lot of pain. He doesn't want to feel pain. He doesn't want to cry for love anymore because he remembers the pain. Simple, basic, classical conditioning. He doesn't want to experience that pain anymore, but the need is still there. Hence the inner conflict. Huge inner conflict. Because to know his needs and try to ask for love he remembers all that pain. It's going to bring up that pain. He's going to relive that. He doesn't want to relive that pain, but he still has the need. Huge inner conflict. Okay, so this inner conflict, it's repressed, it's grooved in, it's a person's unaware of it. Neurosis is the petrification of an inner conflict that's repressed. Now this inner conflict, called, which is going to make the person neurotic, because they're going to go through life in terms of that inner conflict. So the present is still that conflict in the past. They carry that conflict into the past throughout their life, kind of thing. Okay, let's try downstairs. Maybe it's better now. Let's see. I'm starting to feel the heat up here. Yeah. Oh, hang on. Maybe. Let me double check here. I still. I see. So their thing is officially over, but they just have a few participants lingering around, kind of thing. Is that what it is? Okay. Let's try here for a bit. Gosh, yeah. Let's see if things have calmed down downstairs and I can get back. So let's remind me to come back up here to close the curtain, because sometimes I forget. Oh, they've got a new buffet deal here. Looks pretty good. Yeah. You know, this is one of the better hotels. Things are more reasonable here. Oh, good. Okay, I think things have calmed down here. Okay, good. Okay. Let's get back into gear here. Sorry for the little bumpy road there. Let's see if we can get back on a smooth track here. Okay. So he has this compulsion. Okay. This compulsion relates to all of the baby's life force looking for the mother. No baby would make it on their own. All of his energy is to latch on, attach securely to the mother. So when he comes out, you leave the cord, leave the placenta, barring extreme medical emergencies and all that. You place him on the front. He's going to look for the nipple. He wants to suckle and suck and latch on, and skin to skin, suckling, loving gaze. Okay, the blissful oneness continues, kind of thing. When he comes out, all of his energy is for that. He has a hope for that. Emily Dickinson talks about this in her poem called "A Great Hope Fell." The baby had a great hope. A great hope fell. You heard no noise. The wreckage was within. O cunning tale that let no witness in. So one way to describe attachment trauma is that the baby had a hope for a mother to be there. He has no concept that she's going to reject him or give him the feeling that he's unwanted or something like that. So then, okay, that his hope for the secure, to get his needs met, that hope fell. Okay, you heard no noise. The wreckage was within. Now the wreckage is his authentic, real self. He's got to do a very desperate thing. Okay, because it's so dangerous to have the existence of his identity, his real ontological self. So he hides it. He puts his soul, his authentic self, into cold storage. Okay, so it's going to freeze up. Okay, so the image is the frozen woolly mammoth and the block of ice, one metaphor for it. Okay, some people call it emotional hypothermia, emotional coma, emotional catatonia. So it's going to kind of freeze up like that. Another one is petrification, scare stiff one. Now, the more common one in myths and fairy tales is when a symbol in a myth or fairy tale that represents a person's authentic self, when that character, which represents the authentic self of a person, when that character turns to a statue, Echo becomes a statue. Okay, Faithful John in the Grimm's Tale, Faithful John that Robert Bly likes to tell. Faithful John, representing the embodiment, became a statue. So that means a person's not going to feel real and alive anymore because the juices can't flow, things harden up, things, right? So things dry out, everything dries out, you can't feel anymore. So a variation of this is the Velveteen Rabbit story, where the stuffed rabbit kept saying, geez, what is it to feel real? I want to be real and feel real. Can someone tell me what does it mean to feel real? So we may be in that condition where we don't really feel real, right? And then the other one was the woodcutter guy who carved out a little figurine of a wooden boy from a block of wood and was praying for this little boy made out of wood to be alive, to be human, to be alive, to be real and all this. So we may not really feel alive nor real, and that's a symptom of trauma. So yes, we go through the motions of life. Yes, we can sleepwalk through life, go in a trance through life, okay, still get 10 PhDs and all this, but we're missing something. We're missing our real self, our ontological self, our golden ball of pleasure, ability to mourn, and in more severe cases, the ability to have gratitude, ability to make amends, ability to be an elder, ability for affection and tenderness and trust, and just the warmth of loving relationships, that more quote-unquote human side of being human, if the trauma is very early on. Okay, so again, a great hope fell. You heard no noise, the wreckage. So the wreckage means the authentic self became a statue, turned to stone. Petrification, like the petrified frog image in the sitcom The Many Loves of Dobie Gillis. One of the characters there, Maynard Krebs, had this hobby of collecting petrified frogs, as if to say, help, somebody help, I feel like this frog here. It's quite a... And there's even an episode about Maynard, that character, where three shrinks came on the scene, and one of them kind of explained it by saying, oh yes, he's got prenatal trauma and emotional catatonia. That's why he always shows this petrified frog image, because he was traumatized in uterus, and that's why that character didn't want to really grow up or something. He wanted some kind of safety, some kind of childlike place. Didn't want adult responsibilities. He just wanted to play with this little bongos kind of thing. Doesn't listen to the teacher, couldn't concentrate because he was dreaming still. So now the gift of it, if you can say that, was it made him very sensitive to subtle things. Now the whole episode was, why is he so sensitive? Why does he has these kind of extrasensory kind of perceptions or something? Interesting episode if you want to see it. It's called The Mystic Powers of Maynard Krebs, where the three shrinks try to analyze him. One of them said, he's got the Mutter complex. The mother complex simply means when a baby doesn't get enough love to leave the mother, he's got a mother complex. That's all that means. And I forgot what the third one said. The third one said nothing, yeah. Just the first two were okay. So that's petrification, the petrified frog image. Okay, the turn to stone one, or statue one, or the freezing one, the woolly mammoth one, or unreal like the Velveteen Rabbit, or the wooden character like that wooden figurine boy, not where the owner, where the woodcutter guy was praying for the little figurine boy to become alive, right? So we want to feel alive and real. We want to feel alive and real. So our real self, frozen like that, it's considered fragmented from ourselves because we're not in connection to it. So we have the adaptive self, and there's a gap between our functioning adaptive self, okay, and our real self, where we love and feel and all this. There's a pain like that, and this pain, there's a pain so utter, right? And then what happens is, okay, another poem by Emily Dickinson. There's a pain so utter, it swallows substance up. Okay, so the image is Miss Core gets pulled down into the underworld. So the Greek myth, Miss Core, K-O-R-E, meaning our authentic core self kind of thing. Our real self, authentic, real, core self kind of thing. Earth opened up. Miss Core, the maiden, got yanked down, got pulled down like that. Powerful graphic image for this. So that means repression. those three brains, first brain, second brain, human brain, third brain, got pressed down, like repressed. Repressed means a memory, an event and a memory, but you don't know it. So it's repressed, so it's down, pressed down like that. So it's repressed, so it went down into that first brain. That first brain, we're not aware of that first brain. We only get clues of it by our physiology. Like if your body temperature is too hot, your heart math, the speed between your heartbeats is irregular, or you're slouching or something, or psychosomatic symptoms, or you're too revved up and you're too irritable with PTSD. The language of the trauma in the first brain communicates to you through your biology kind of thing. So Janov was saying, we got to study this vital signs of people, and that's what Mr. Freud tried to do in the beginning and put it aside. In 1970, Janov sort of took the baton, and some people called it Freud 2.0 because he brought it back to life. So we did 26 videos of the work of the famous psychologist Arthur Janov just recently. Very good 26 video special run of his material. It begins with TQ 2745 up to 70. There's a 3-video supplement from 71 to 73, which I highly recommend, which supports the first 26 videos. So we've got 29 videos I recommend. Basically all of the videos posted so far this year, 2024. Basically all that material. And then we did some videos about some interesting one-liners by Henry Hart. And now we're doing the talionic issue. I started yesterday. Back to the first Emily Dickinson poem. A great hope fell. You heard no noise. The wreckage was within. Oh, cunning tale, cunning tale. My goodness. What cunning tale is this? No baby expects some complicated thing with the mother like this. The baby has just a basic, pure trust. Baby, mother, I'm here. Mother says, well, you're interrupting my career. Oh, cunning tale. Now he's crying. Mother says, oh, you don't like me, do you? Oh, cunning tale. Mother says, sorry, baby, I'm going to shame you because I want to tell the world how my mother shamed me. Oh, cunning tale. Baby, mother says, sorry, baby, I'm going to brainwash you, take care of me because my mother never took care of me. I'm going to parentify you. Oh, cunning tale. And there's a whole list of things like this. There's a long list of things of how mothers are betraying their babies. There's even child abuse in the womb. There's even a thing called child abuse in the womb. When the mother's pregnant, she takes Tylenol with codeine. That baby can be addicted to that. Or the mother takes caffeine or wine and alcohol or meds. That can disturb the baby's biology, and he could be born with PTSD. That's child abuse in the womb if the mother smokes while she's pregnant. So, oh, cunning tale. There's a lot going on there. So one of the messages is that the mother's communicating that she was traumatized. So she traumatizes her baby to tell the world that she's traumatized. And she's trying to know herself that she was traumatized, so she recreates it because she's trying to remember that she was traumatized, but she doesn't remember it with words, so she creates it in an attempt to remember it by looking at the inference, like looking at her behavior and making the inference that what she's doing is a reflection of what happened to her in the past. That's called the inferring mind doing this, right? Oh, cunning tale that let no witness it. Okay, so the child traumatized like this, he doesn't have a chance to let his conscious ego develop. So his conscious ego, okay, is submerged and frazzled up. That's the Scarecrow character in The Wizard of Oz. Now that child's not going to love life. Okay, that's the Tin Man character looking for a heart. So, obviously, right? No love, heart, feeling, path with heart, loving feelings. So that's a sign of trauma. He's not going to love life. And the Scarecrow and the Tin Man being like that means the person's going to feel disembodied from themselves. That's the Cowardly Lion character. Okay, now this is like a fairy tale. So all of these characters are just personifications of elements within, of one mind, one psyche. They're not separate outer things. They're all like a dream. Okay, so myths and fairy tales are metaphors for internal dynamics. They're soul stories. They're true on the inside, not on the outside. Every character in a myth or fairy tale represents a personification of some inner element. So Dorothy is like kind of like the part of the psyche that's trying to heal things, line things up. So Dorothy is like represents the nature's drive for healing, to line things up and realign the heart, body, mind, line it up like this. Or we can kind of say, you know, be like Dorothy and recognize that if the person doesn't feel connected to their embodiment, that sense of self feeling, okay, and they're not loving life, okay, the Tin Man character. Well, first things first, give the Scarecrow a brain. Their mission should you choose to accept it, is to give the scarecrow a brain. These 10,000 quotes are sort of in that positive intention, to give the scarecrow a brain. Okay, so so these are theories, these are constructs, these are hypotheses, these are prompts to reassociate with, invitations for mutual exploration, clues. We're trying to be detective here. We're trying to build a nest of knowledge. Okay, and then the feelings can come, and then the embodiment can come. But to get back to feelings, meaning the heart for the Tin Man and the embodiment for the lion, we need a belated understanding of it all. That belated understanding is going to be facilitated by these quotes and theories and models and developmental theory, object relations theory, okay, the work of Edmund Bergler and so on, Grotstein, Ogden, the whole list of authors that we have, including Janoff, recently done, and including Dorothea MacArthur. We've got a good quote of hers in today's video here, so stay tuned. Very good, underappreciated author, Dorothea MacArthur, about adult development. It's a self-help book of hers. So these quotes are an attempt to give the scarecrow a brain. So if we give ourselves this kind of knowledge, it's like building a nest, and then maybe an egg can appear and the potential can come in. Okay, so psychoanalysis looks for an egg in a basket that's missing. So first weave the basket, then the egg can come in. So don't first look for your feelings or your embodiment and bypass your knowledge of it all. Oh no, it's quite the opposite. First, create some kind of container to allow your child, your feelings to feel safe to come back to you. You need some kind of holding like that. Okay, another metaphor for these kind of quotes is it's giving us night vision. It's giving us night vision. So our real self, okay, that's repressed, it's kind of dark like that. So we don't see it. It's dark, unknown, dark, shadow. We don't see it like a forest. We don't see it. So these quotes are giving us a lantern in the forest, or night vision in the forest. If we're going to get back our feelings and know what's going on, we need some kind of vision. So these quotes are giving us night vision. Okay. Wilfred Lay in 1917 in a self-help book. By the way, I'm not on a spaceship, by the way. But this image reminds me of what Wilfred Lay said. He said, if you look up at night in the sky, you might see some stars like this. He said, if you have very good vision, you might see more stars. What if you had even greater, better vision? You might see more and more stars, and so on like this. Well, in the unconscious, we don't know what's going on. It's all dark in there. We need night vision. These quotes are giving us night vision to see what's within. Just as we have vision to see what the contents of this, we need vision to see the inner stars, feelings, potential, and life, and all this, lost life, and all this. Robert Bly's metaphor for this is that by the age of 5, the child puts his real self into a bag and we drag this bag behind us for the rest of our lives, and we spend the rest of our lives trying to get back our real self. The embodiment, the golden ball, who we'd be had we been loved. Okay. Now the gifts of the real self. So when we get back our real self, there's various capacities, and so capacity for intimacy, capacity to express your interests, which is loving life, and meaningful and pleasure and joy, and runs the constant. So joy is in the bag, and the ability to mourn's in the bag in many cases. And so there's a lot going on in the bag. All the energy in the bag is called the id. So where id was, ego shall be. Want to make the unconscious conscious. So you want to look in the bag and bring it to your consciousness. Some people call it fishing. You want to, like the ocean, you want to bring up the contents in the ocean, bring up the fish to your table on the plate, and make it conscious. So these quotes are helping us to be our own metaphorical fisher person. Now, when we make something unconscious conscious, another image is Hermes flies across, and the Hermes like a messenger god from your id. Sometimes the id is personified. In the Odyssey, it was Poseidon, the ocean god, right? And Poseidon said to Odysseus, hey you, I got material here. I want you to know all this that you denied here. Well, I don't get this. I just want to play infantile god. I just want to be a he-man here. Oh no, I don't like this. You've denied your feelings. You betrayed your feelings for so long. I don't need you. like the mayor in the Pied Piper of Hamelin 1957 fantasy musical show called The Pied Piper of Hamelin. The mayor was doing the same thing. I don't care about feelings and what's the human side of being human. I'm just addicted to power and money and infantile glory and God, playing infantilism, infantile God. I'm just addicted to this kind of what a rush kind of thing. So he doesn't care about the feeling side. So things got worse in the village, and okay. And long story short, people recognized the pain of this, and then finally, the line was. The villagers lost their children because the children never had their parents, so the mountain opened up and the children went into the mountain. Another metaphor for repression. It's also like a metaphor. So finally, when the people wept and mourned, the mountain opened up and the children came back. So Odysseus was in that kind of mode. Now I don't care about this, and his unconscious Poseidon, that big wave, the special effects by the Muppets guy, the Jim Henson of the Muppets, the special effects for that show. Very good. In my humble opinion, the best TV film rendition of the Odyssey is the one starring Armand Assante. It's filmed in Turkey, international production. They had a crew, director. It was like a whole international production. An amazing. It was a TV series. Even the Hallmark company was involved in it. And Jim Henson was involved. The soundtrack was from a famous music composer who passed away recently. His name was, if I remember correctly, Eduard Artemiev. Is that right? And two of the songs on the soundtrack of the Odyssey are in our soundtrack. Okay, one called Calypso and the finale song. Great, incredible songs. Two of the nicest songs, really. And the director is like one. And the director was one of the most revered, greatest directors of all time. Andre something, I think it's Andre, sorry, I forgot his last name. But he was really an amazing director. He did an incredible job. I don't know if anyone could have done what he did. That's the best TV film rendition of the Odyssey. Now I highly recommend getting the VHS, the original on VHS, because when they moved it over to digital, I still can't believe it to this day. They removed one of the key scenes. Okay, the key scene where Odysseus with the sirens. They took that out, where Odysseus had to tie himself to the mast with the sirens. They took that whole thing out. That's one of the most important scenes. They took that out because it conflicted with. Oh my God. Myths and fairy tales and religious stories. Okay, most religious stories are metaphors for inner dynamics. So the whole Odyssey is like a dream. Okay? And you look for the psychological message. The motifs and the patterns of the myths and fairy tales are metaphors for psychological dynamics. Okay? So Odysseus tying himself to the mast like that, that just means you feel a temptation to, there's a temptation to not try to find your home. The sirens are saying, don't bother finding your home. What a sweet voice. So they had this sweet, beautiful voice, right? The sirens. You don't have to find your home. You don't have to find your embodiment. You don't have to find your real self. You don't have to get back your soul castle and be reunited with your feeling self. You don't need your embodiment and your golden ball. You don't need to feel real. You can just play infantile He-Man God. And there's a temptation for this. And Odysseus, he got in touch with the pain of all this and the importance of finding our soul and all this. So he tied himself to the mast to resist the temptation. The other version was putting the wax in the ears. So some guys put wax in the ears, but Odysseus was stronger. He had to forcefully tie himself to the mast. That's all that meant. To resist the temptation to give up finding your soul. You see, that's why they cut out. See, that's why they see. Okay, we have a major thread here called the psychoanalysis of religion, jam-packed with psychology. But we only discuss religion when it's specifically in the narrow context of when religion is being used as a tool of the pillage and the plunder. Because religion, the purpose in that case, in that context, is to prevent healing, is to prevent consciousness, is to not give the scarecrow a brain, is to not build a nest of knowledge to get back your soul, to keep people traumatized and repeating their trauma, because that's what's needed to pillage and plunder. the baby's soul was pillaged. Then the fight with the aggressor, they pillage outwardly to replay what happened to them. So they don't want to heal. So religion in that context don't heal. So I think that's why they cut that out, because people might question this. Gee, that image looks kind of familiar here, so they took it out. So I recommend getting the VHS if you can find an old, if you can somehow magically find an old VHS player. And still be able to hook it up to a screen somehow and watch the original one. The current DVD of it omits that key scene. Even with that key scene missing, it's still nevertheless the best rendition of the Odyssey, the one starring Armando Sante. So that has won a golden. That, by the way, that has won a golden Windmills of the Mind award. That Odyssey, the TV miniseries, the 3-part TV miniseries. I think it was 3 hours or something. It's done in 3 parts or 4 hours or something. It's mainly like the latter part, not too much the first part. It's sort of like. It sort of begins with the Poseidon scene, when Poseidon says to Odysseus, "All right, you gotta find your inner home." And then he had to go to the underworld. Odysseus went to the unconscious. Okay, so the underworld is the hell, shame. So his loss of his true identity was shame. So he admitted he was shamed. He understood it, that he was shamed. That's what Poseidon was saying. Look, you were shamed. You're denying this, and you're compensating by playing infantile megalomania. No, you were shamed with trauma. No, I wasn't. Yes, you were. Really, our little arrogance is going to override the power of nature like this? So finally, Odysseus got it and realized he was shamed. So hell, okay, in myths and fairy tales is a metaphor for the emotion of shame. When the child loses his real self, the feeling is shame. So back to Miss Core. When Miss Core got pulled down into the underworld, right? That underworld backdrop was the hell fiery. So shame is the emotion. It's a burning, biting feeling. Shame is this burning, biting feeling. The storytellers would create this hell's kind of image to describe the emotion of shame. Again, myths and fairy tales are a metaphor for inner dynamics. Shame is an inner dynamic. It's a feeling. It's an inner dynamic. So myths and fairy tales describe inner dynamics. So when the soul got pulled down, the feeling, the backdrop feeling is shamed like this. So the person's shamed like this. Now he's enraged by this. Shame and rage go together. His rage projects onto the mother, makes an image of the mother as the guy with the horns. So the guy with the horns is the one that pulled this cord down. Okay, the guy with the horns. So you take the breast, baby's enraged. No, the breast mother's enraged. Okay. The baby's rage looks at mother's eyes. The mother's filled with hate. Little flames in the mother's eyes. You condense the fiery, you put it together, the breast, the mother's hateful eye looks. You put it, blurred it together, you got the guy with the horns basically. Just speculation here. I'm still working on that one. And then later on they filled in with the bull character for other reasons. But I think originally, my guess is originally, see, when you're talking about dreams, things condense. Things can blur up and create a new image from different fragments. Condense, it's condensation they call it. So we were talking about Odysseus. The Odyssey. What were we talking about before we went down the Odyssey line? Myths and fairy tales. Emily Dickinson, there's a pain so utter. There's a pain so utter, it swallows substance up, so this cord got pulled down. Okay, so again, that's called repression, the imprint down into the first brain. And then, because of the pain like that, imagine a baby, like the Edward Munch screen painting. Imagine like a baby, imagine a baby version of that. Okay. By the way, that painting, the most amount of money ever spent for a painting was that screen painting by Munch, right? It's kind of interesting because Masterson's take on it was that's the abandonment depression. That's how we feel with trauma. We feel like that painting. We don't remember it. It's flash frozen, like a painting, stuck like that, like a rigid two-dimensional flat painting, screen painting. So it's frozen, silent, screen, but can't screen, but it's there. It's frozen, petrified, stuck like that. And that's within kind of thing. Okay, now to make it clear, imagine an electrochemical neon flashing light within, blinking on and off. Unloved, unloved, so meaning needs weren't met, needs were met. Betrayed, betrayed. Mother was soul blind, didn't meet my needs. She betrayed me, she failed me. Pain, unloved, pain, pain, unloved, blinking. Okay, this blinking of the screen painting and the pain of not getting mother's love, okay, that instructs the brain to release the swoon, okay, the endorphins. So the endorphins are the chemistry of numbing your pain. Okay, so now the person goes in a swoon. Okay, back to the first part of that poem. There's a pain so utter, it swallows substance up, and then the person goes in a swoon, and it goes on, right? That's a great little poem by Emily Dickinson, right? So, and we may spend our whole lives in this swoon. That's called sleepwalking through life, being in a trance in life, being mildly disassociative in your life. Just you see, you know, you're there, but you don't really feel alive and all this. It's like it's like you're a little bit drunk all your whole life. You're just going through the motions of life, sleepwalking through life, feeling that life is passing you by. When does life begin, kind of thing, and feeling that you're living the provisional life, feeling that you're living the unlived life. Something's missing. What's missing? Well, the golden ball, your embodiment, is missing. You want to get back to golden ball. You want to get back to the embodiment. That's what's missing. So it's repressed. It's a pain so utter, and we're in a swoon. So at midlife we address this. So first things first, give the scarecrow a brain. If we give the scarecrow a brain, there's some recognition to support a belated release of our feelings that we couldn't feel. Simultaneous, there's a belated understanding, and all that's called a genuine catharsis, and that's healing. That's feeling is healing. Now, if you don't feel, there's a pain around it. That pain leads to tension. Okay. So if we're not feeling, there's going to be a tension. That tension steams up. People go through like blowing off steam. That's not feeling. Just blowing off steam, that's not feeling. So the steam is the energy of the pain due to not being able to feel. So you're just going through like blowing off steam kind of thing. And so there's a whole discussion about the difference between genuine release, emotional freedom. Okay, there's genuine catharsis, purification, or emotional purging. This genuine now you can feel what you couldn't feel back then. Now you can feel it because you have a belated understanding, and you can integrate it to your consciousness. So you're aware of the past. The past feels that it can release it to you because now you can understand it and catch it and hold it. And now your life force can be for the present. But you need an understanding. That's why the scarecrow. You need the scarecrow to have a brain to do that. If the scarecrow doesn't have a brain, you're not going to do it. So first things first, give the scarecrow a brain. This discussion between the difference between genuine catharsis, Janoff calls it like a primal healing, versus sham expressions of feelings or blowing off steam. Okay, there's a difference between those two. Like an actor on stage who's gonna pretend he has a feeling and just demonstrate it, that's not a healing. Or he's supposed to show a feeling but doesn't have the feeling, but he imagines someone else who has that feeling and he pretends to be that person, also a sham. So that's not healing if you're just doing this sham display of feelings. So there's a big difference between these sham display of feelings, that what actors do, versus a genuine linking to your memory of the traumatic event and the release of the feelings associated with that memory. So there's a belated feeling from that trauma. It's like a belated onset of the feeling. Now it can move, now it can flow, because you have a catcher's mitt. You got a nest to catch it. That's the scarecrow having a brain. That's the nest. Okay, that's the nest from the basket, the catcher's mitt. We need a catcher's mitt. So we got to give ourselves a catcher's mitt, put it that way. These quotes are helping us to give ourselves a catcher's mitt, to catch our feelings. Our feeling is stuck. It'll only come to us if we can catch it. If we don't have a catcher's mitt, it's not going to send it to us. your inner child is going to say, I'm not going to send it to you. You don't have a catcher's mitt. Well, send it. No, you're not going to catch it. I'm not going to try to send it to you. I want to first see that you have a catcher's mitt. Give yourself a catcher's mitt, and then your soul will send you the feelings, and that's the healing. Right? That's called the primal healing, or genuine catharsis, or genuine. In German, it was Abrierung in German. The English translation of that term is kind of confusing, because ab in English is different from the ab prefix in German. But the ab in German is a belated release, but when you say ab reaction in English, it's confusing because it implies you're going against something. So there's a huge problem with the English translation of Freud's work. That's why we don't have any Freud quotes, because of the mess with the English translation. And that's a good example of why we don't have Freud quotes. Now, on occasion, if an author says Freud said such and such, and that author knows German, I'll include it, right? Like Laponche and Pontalis, or Edmund Berger, Karen Hornheim, Melanie Klein, etc. If the German speaker or a non-English speaker who knows, like a French speaker who knows German, if someone else, put it that way, if someone else says, if any English shrink says Freud such and such, they're just quoting the convoluted translation. So there's no point in that, right? So the only time we mention Freud is when a German speaker says, and they translate from the German and they speak English to us, like Edmund Berger or Karen Horney or somebody like that. I guess I better leave soon. What is it? 3:37. Well, they're definitely preparing for some big. Oh yeah, she told me there's an event up there, right? Maybe that event that just finished. Maybe later they're gonna come down here for the meal. Maybe that's what it is. So I'm sort of in between these kind of things, that's why she said it's okay. Normally, whenever there's any kind of events, I don't bother. I just go away. I leave. I don't do a video if there's any kind of events. I don't want to do it. But she specifically said, no, you're kind of in between. You're a little bit okay like that. So I'll make sure I leave before. When the first guests come down, I'll definitely leave right away once I see the first guests coming. Maybe I can go back. Maybe I can go back to that cute little. There's a cute little boutique hotel about a good 10-minute walk from here. I found a little boutique hotel on a quiet dead-end street. On the second floor, they got like a mini restaurant there. And today's Tuesday. It might not be busy, so I might go there a little bit later on. Hold on a second. Yeah, still no guava juice. They're sold. Yeah. What spinach was for Popeye, guava juice has been for me the past little while, but they're sold. It's not available anymore. So my substitute, my current temporary substitute, is, well, if they have tangerine juice, I'll take. It's coconut water kind of thing. Why am I telling you? Just a fun little side thing, little tidbit here. It's a companion beverage to 1001 Windmills of the Mind. Guava juice, tangerine juice, Egyptian licorice mint tea by the Yogi Tea Company. That flavor there. Paulaner's 0.0% non-alcoholic beer out of Munich. Those are the main companion beverages. Actually, there's a nice little plum wine from Guangzhou. Mei Yuan, is that right? Oh, I forgot already. Just a little 250 ml, it's just like a 250 milliliter green little bottle, like a mini little bottle. It's a natural fruity. But I read somewhere not supposed to talk about alcoholic beverages, so I'm kind of hesitant to comment on that too much. So I'll just stick with the non-alcoholic companion beverages, like guava juice, tangerine juice, Egyptian licorice mint tea by the Yogi Tea Company, and 0.0% non-alcoholic beer by the Paulaner German beer company from Munich, Germany. If beer is liquid bread, somebody said, then that is liquid, fresh, wholesome, out of the oven, organic bread. Like, it's really nice. It's like eating a fresh loaf of organic bread or something. If you can find it, yeah, it's getting harder to find. Okay, let's go back to repetition compulsion then. So the event of trauma means the baby cried for love, but didn't get his needs met, but the needs are still there. So he's going to go through life crying for love. Now this cry for love takes two forms. So the metaphor is, imagine a 45 disc record, and there's a song called The Cry for Love. It's grooved in, and on that plastic disc, the memory, the baby cried for love, mother said no. And whatever, very easy for her to do it. Oh, cunning tale, she said no. But he still has the needs. Mother, I need your love. He said no. But there's no time, cry again. But the event did take place. You can't change the past, so you're still crying. That's why it's neurotic, because all time is going to be that time. The present isn't the past, so that you're missing life like that. Hence the gap between the real self and the adaptive self. Maybe she'll go back up. Maybe she'll go back up. No, they got a full preparation here. Okay, yeah, I'm tempted to give myself a distraction here. Let's go back up a minute. Ah, hi. Is it okay if I sit here for a little while? Okay, thanks. Oh, they're still preparing, huh? Every neurotic is a music enthusiast, but he only has this 145 disc record, which he carries with him everywhere he goes. Every time he sees a turntable with never-ending fiery ardor, a compulsion, he runs to the turntable, puts the 45 on it, puts the power on, picks up the needle, and plays that tune. Meaning in the present situation, he's going to play that cry for love. He's going to transfer the past to the present and act the whole thing out like actors. That's why it's called transfers, acting out. You're going to act it out like actors. Now this cry for love takes two forms. Okay, the more perverse, disturbed, psychotic one, which seems to be the source point of this whole talionic phenomenon. Okay, it's called identification with the aggressor. If the child is traumatized prior to 18 months, okay, see, 18 months is the time when the baby's infantile megalomania, okay, dissipates. You see, like the catwalk model again. She's playing infantile megalomania, strutting full superior, like she's a little superior, self-sufficient. I don't need anybody. I'm cold. I'm no feeling. I reject feelings. I'm just superior. I'm above it all. And she's strutting along, like this, with flamboyant appearance or something, saying, "I don't need anybody. I don't need anything." Okay, so she's kind of displaying that trauma, and the voyeurs of it are feeling it as well, and they just use her as a proxy for how they feel, kind of thing. I imagine it's sort of similar with a lot of like some of these celebrity types in that area. Okay, one second. Okay, oh, interesting slogan. Maybe we'll talk about it later. That's a sign of anxiety to kind of like change topics easily like that. Okay, so in normal development, that infantile megalomania dissipates ballpark 18 months. And then post 18 months, the child recognizes he's not an infantile god. He's a person, others are people, okay, and it's he can handle ambivalence. He has a sense of self and his feelings. Okay, so he's sort of in that more, quote-unquote, more human side of being human area. But if he's traumatized prior to 18 months, that means there was way too much pain going on, and he had to do a very desperate thing. Okay, so the desperate thing is he identifies with the aggressor, which leads to a lifelong talionic attitude in life. So when he identifies with the aggressor, that's a very desperate, severe measure a baby has to adopt. Okay, so I'll read you, when I get back down, I'll read you Elizabeth Howell's quote about identification with the aggressor. The baby's stunned by the mother's abuse, so he doesn't know where he is. Now, because they're already one like that, the baby's soul is disappeared or frozen. There's like a vacuum there, but the mother's mind fills in, and the child adopts her mind, and that becomes the baby's mind, the mother's mind. And so the baby absorbs mother's mind as their mind, as identification with the aggressor. That's a very sad state of affairs, because he doesn't really know himself anymore. He's just gonna have her mind. Now, what's the mother's mind? Mother's mind is ashamed to him as their true self. So they're just gonna shame themselves all the time. But that's too painful. So the next part is they find proxies to play their innocence. So when they identify with the aggressor, so they look at the record, new situation, look at what does the record say? Well, they cry for love, the mother said no. Now they're going to be the mother who says no to them. It's too painful to keep on doing this. So to distract themselves, they find someone else to play them and say no to them. That distracts them from the pain of it all. But they are still saying no to themselves. The trick is they don't feel it because they're saying no to someone else when they say you're no good. So they project their no goodness onto others and say they're no good. And they revert to a two-part phase. They regress back to the stage of the illusion of being on the throne, like the models, the catwalk models and all this, infantile megalomania, and they identify with the aggressor. So it's because of the why it's so appealing, because number one, it gives them an identity. They have a mother, Okay? So they're the mother. It's a fake, it's not the true identity. But the chemistry is they're in the blissful oneness. The baby is in a blissful oneness. Now, we don't remember this blissful oneness, but it's apparent it's a blissful feeling. Robert Bly jokes, yeah, at times it was ecstasy, like a very blissful, not addiction. It was a blissful feeling. The baby is in a blissful oneness with the mother. It's an amazing feeling, but we don't remember that, but the baby had it, kind of thing. So if he identifies with the aggressor and shames himself, that means they're one again. So they're going to feel on some level that blissful connection of being one. Now the pain part of it all, is divided into two areas. One is the externalization of the proxy playing their soul who's in pain because they shamed the other, and the endorphins that numb the rest of the pain, and they keep the blissful part. And now they're addicted to the blissful part because it gives them an identity. So this leads to one of the stinger personality patterns. So all of the stinger personality patterns that develop, i.e. any of the personality patterns that develop prior to when trauma takes place, prior to 18 months, the various narcissistic patterns, the bully pattern, Iago personality pattern, lower functioning BPD pattern, and some of the other ones. Okay. Now, a new thing we're doing here is, I think the talionic issue, which we'll talk about in a minute, is in there. Because it gives them an identity. So they have to hate others. Okay? Do to others what the mother did to them. And they can't do otherwise because then they have no identity. So they're in this talionic mode of doing to others what was done to them. To have a connection to the mother who did that to them. So I'm still a little unclear about clearly this link between the talionic phenomena and identification with the aggressor. So I'm kind of working towards it. So yesterday's video was just a very clumsy video, actually. I was kind of a little tired and all that, but I decided to post it after all. So I just left it there. Not one of my better videos, but if you click the more link, you'll see the quotes. So that's the most important thing. Go to the last video, 2782, I think. I click the more link, you'll see the quotes there. Good quotes, strong, good quotes about the talionic phenomena. So I'm going to just go with Masterson's phrase for the talionic impulse. Like it's impulsive, right? Yeah, that's what he means by the impulse. And it doesn't have to be like that. It's just there's this impulsive compulsion to maintain your identity. It's a false identity, but it's the only identity you have. It's a false identity, but that's the only identity they have. To not have their false identity, they got to feel the pain of their real self, and they're not ready to do it because they don't have a basket. They don't have a catcher's mitt to catch their feelings for it. So first we got to give ourselves a catcher mitt. So that's a new metaphor that we're adding. I think that we can add now in our collection here. But these quotes are helping us to give ourselves a catcher's mitt. I'm sweating up here. Yeah, it's baking up here. I think the AC is off or something. Let's see if we get lucky, if it's quiet downstairs. Hey, hang on a sec. What's going on here? What about the third floor? I don't like using the third floor because it's right beside one of the other restaurants, and there's always that potential of disturbing a guest or something. Let's see. Oh, okay, forget it. No. Oh, there's a whole thing going on here. Okay, no problem. Well, it smells good. I can smell the spices. The best times are when there's no special event. There's not too many preparations going on. So we discussed the various stinger personality patterns, the various narcissistic patterns, okay, the exhibitionistic one that we're familiar with, the voyeuristic one, okay, and then the turtle one, the clinging vine one, okay, and so on. Of course, the bully pattern, Iago pattern, and so on. These are very disturbed. Their philosophies are very negative. Their humor is very cynical and dark because they're always searching for the throne. They're always searching for that ironic, huge irony, because the baby was never a little god. He was a passive, vulnerable, helpless thing. But he had this illusion he was a god. So they're searching for that, feeling that they're like the catwalk model, that they're superior and they don't. So the mother shamed them. So to have a mother, to have an attachment to the mother, the condition is they gotta shame themselves. So they find someone else to play themselves and shame them, being loyal to the mother who shamed them. Okay, so that's called identification with the aggressor, negative magic gesture, Berger's phrase for it. And it seems to be sort of the source dynamic for this talionic phenomena, which we'll get to in a minute. You know, and this talionic phenomena can be displaced like if the Mother Earth is mother, and we don't express, the baby doesn't express his anger at the mother because he is her. How does he express his anger at the mother if he is her? Well, find someone else to play mother, hence Mother Earth. Now they're going to express their anger at the mother. So maybe this slow destruction of our pollution, wrecking the planet, and all that. That's the talionic anger at the mother. Mother hurt us, you're angry at her. So she destroyed your feelings, your like your soulful feelings and all that. You identify with the aggressor. Well, what can symbolize that would happen? Well, so mother destroyed our feelings. We may say that the nutrients of the soil, because the child's soil, like his soul, like his land, the soul castle, like a land, right, soil, and feelings, things that grow from it, right? So maybe we say that the earth, okay, the soil, and the nutrients and the delicious things that come from the soil, okay, so it's going to be attacked in a talionic retaliation, tit for tat talionic reaction to the mother. Mother took away our feelings and damaged our soil and damaged our feelings. So damaged the nutrients in the soil on the earth. Because Mother Earth's going to stand for mother, and we're getting back a mother. Mother took away our feelings, we take away the nutrients of the soil, just as a symbol of what the mother did to us. So there's the talionic impulse to express our anger at the mother and have a mother by doing to others what a mother did to us. So it's a double thing. We identify with the aggressor, okay, and treat others the way the mother treated us. So if mother took away our feelings and all this, we identify with the aggressor, we can see the innocent earth as us and damage the earth. Then hocus pocus, auto-hypnosis, double focus, Alice in Wonderland, flip-flop, okay, translogic, flip-flop, okay, simultaneously. The one we just hurt, the earth. The earth played our innocence. The earth was innocent. We damaged it. Now we say that the earth we just damaged is the monster mother who hurt us in the nursery. Now we are the victim and get our response. Now we want to control and the mother and get back at the mother. So we express our anger at the mother. While we're not just expressing our anger at the mother, we're treating the earth the way the mother treated us. Okay, see, there's a thing here called fusion. The self and the mother are blurred up. It's all blurred up. So the child was both the child becomes both the passive victim and the aggressor. He's now the aggressor and he's the victim. He's doing both. Imagine Earth doing both, and he flips it around like that. So first, the Earth can play his innocence, and he damages the way his mother damaged him. He feels badly by doing this. He thinks the Earth is the mother who hurt him back in the nursery. Now he feels justified to express his anger and say how terrible the Earth is. So they pick up the phone, hey, short seller, I want to make money. Frankenfood's the thing to do. But doesn't that destroy the Earth? Well, that's the whole point, really. That the excuse is, well, you can make a lot of money with Frankenfood. But the deeper issue is you're destroying the soil, you're destroying the goodness of the Earth, the soil, and the food and all this. Because that's what happened to us. Mother destroyed our soul and our goodness. So that's called envy. So Mother gave us emotional poverty. Mother stole our soul land. We all live in a psychic house called a soul castle. It's like a home, like a land within. Okay, soil on the land. So the mother stole all that. Okay, she exploited it, took it away, kind of the damage and all that. We identify with the aggressor. So new situation. They're the aggressor now. The Earth can be their innocence. So they'll take away. Okay, hold on a second. The slab's got to do his thing here. Nice of him, didn't have to set up this table here, all right? So I'm just sort of experimenting at this point here. So I'm trying to understand this whole talionic thing as it relates to getting back at Mother by getting back at Mother Earth kind of thing. All right? How that works. First, we see the Mother Earth as our innocence, and we're the aggressor. Damage to Earth that way. That's part A. Then we say the Earth is the mother who hurt us in the nursery. So now we're justified in a tit for tat to get back at Mother, to control the Mother, to change the Mother. But while we're doing it, we're the aggressor damaging. You see, sort of blurred up like that, right? So the Earth is the passive us victim, and we see it as the aggressor, which we're angry at and trying to control while we're destroying it. So we're destroying it and trying to control it. You see, so maybe that's why the food quality is going down, and you know, now you see it, and he said, you see, and there was this push for it, and the people were protesting, no, don't destroy the soil and create Frankenfood, and destroying the soil, because the Frankenfood will collapse at some point, and well, in the meantime, you made a quick buck. Well, Mother made a quick buck. When Mother short-sold the baby's soul, so when something's good, you profit from its destruction. It's called short-selling. So Mother short-sold our soul. Identify with the short-selling Mother, short-sell the planet. So we're just replaying and repeating the cry for love. But in identification with the aggressor, the outside one cries for love, and we say no to them. Then we blame them and attack them because the Mother hurt us. You see, it flips around like that, right? So this is called perverse thinking, psychotic thinking, identification with the aggressor. And of course, it's all masked over the slogans, advertising slogans, propaganda slogans, PR slogans, all nice sounding kind of things. Like for the famous one is called the dogma of discovery. If the more traumatized people find something, well, it belongs to us. They call it principle of discovery. Now, it seems that at the same time, the more traumatized ones were in a place where there was less sun. So the tan, the skin tone, lost some of the melanin. So the skin tone became more of a beige. Right? So then they say, well, we the more traumatized ones, there's indigenous people with more of a shade of brown tone of skin, the more traumatized ones with a shade of beige tone of skin. Nobody has white skin or black skin. Forget that. It's a shade of beige or shade of brown. So the shade of beige tone of skin says, well, you have a shade of brown tone of skin. Well, we're more traumatized. So your land belongs to us because mother took our land. So now we're entering the pillage and the plunder. Okay? So they took their land and now blame the victims and say they're the one that hurt them back in the nursery. It's all perverse thinking, psychotic thinking. So you can do it to the people, with indigenous people, for example. So imagine that, right? 70 million indigenous people living in a very moral, ethical way, like the Navajo. And today's quote coming up, we've got one about the Navajo. Very advanced, cultural, civilized. They didn't do these awful things. That's projection. They didn't do that. Go to Heck Ramsey, mentioned earlier. The episode about the feather, I think it's the yellow feather one. There's one of the best scenes in television right there. When Heck Ramsey, the guy's name, played by Richard Boone, excellent actor, right? Sort of a continuation of Paladin, his earlier role in the 50s, right? Paladin. Sort of like an updated, modern version of Paladin kind of thing. Paladin, Paladin, where do you roam? Well, he roamed in the show Heck Ramsey. And check out that episode about the feather. I think it's the mystery of the yellow feather or green feather, something like that. So he makes it clear that a lot of these things, these negative images we're putting on to indigenous people, oh no, they were way more cultured. It's the invaders who murdered 70 million indigenous people to steal Turtle Island, North America, Turtle Island. So the rude things that were done, we say, well, they're no good. You flip it like that. Okay, let's just run into the talionic thing. Let's see if I want to better link this issue of the talionic phenomena with identification of the aggressor. Hold on a sec. So let's run through today's ones, and I'll go back to yesterday's ones. So one of our mentors is Masterson, James F. Masterson. Masterson places great emphasis on the client's ability to recognize, work through, and ultimately subdue powerful talionic impulses and needs directed toward the self and, by displacement from the parents, toward others, including the earth. Okay, so in yesterday's one, the summary of it is here. To leave the talionic impulse unconsidered is to fail the client. So Masterson made a big point that if you really want to help the client with the bully pattern, Iago pattern, narcissistic pattern, at some point you got to face and name this issue that he's calling a talionic impulse, which seems to be synonymous with identification with the aggressor. Now, how do you unblend from the aggressor? Well, you got to identify, find your mother's story, okay, be a detective, find out why she's traumatized. Why did she fail the baby? Why did she betray the baby? Why was she so blind to the baby? Oh, cunning tale. Then you unblend from her, have your own identity. Then you don't be like her if you find yourself. So that's resolving the talionic issue, right? Okay, today's batch. As clients begin to experience themselves as more individuated, they often experience a talionic impulse or deep hostility toward their parents for having thwarted them as children. The talionic impulse must be worked through. Masterson puts it this way, quote, "The client must make a choice between getting back or getting better." The client must make a choice between getting back or getting better or healing. You can't have both. You cannot have both. He must give up the idea of revenge on the mother and free his energy to be used to support himself rather than attack himself, which he's doing with the talionic thing. Because you're attacking, because you identified with the aggressor. When you attack others, you're attacking yourself. You just don't know it. Eventually, this desire to get back at the mother will be partially discharged in the therapy sessions and partially discharged through sublimation. You channel into other activities. In this way, underlying, so therapy does part of it, and you sublimate your energy into useful activities as part of it. Or maybe therapy can fully do it. In this way, underlying a life force is freed for use in constructive, assertive efforts at coping and adaptation. The absurdity of the unlived life suggests talionic images, imagos. The client unconsciously applied talionic law. I'll show you what it's like to be abandoned. So mother emotionally abandoned him, so he'll ignore her. Mother ignored him. Oh, I'm going to ignore you. That's getting back, right? So there's no real healing that way. You got to forgive the mother, not just get back at her. The inner critic operates according to talionic principles. So the inner critic is mother's hate. Now you hate yourself. And sometimes that's your mother's voice. So you want to get rid of your mother's voice. You might hurt yourself to attack your mother. So sometimes the talionic phenomena is that you want to get back at your mother, but if you are the mother, then you get back at yourself trying to get back at the mother, kind of thing. So we have a couple of quotes today about this. Let's see. Yeah, here it is here, by Dorothea MacArthur. Failure may also be another part of the self trying by the only means possible to block progress toward fulfillment of their parents' demand for high academic achievement. It is a way for the clients to say no to their parents without being overtly disobedient. If impinged upon, traumatized, clinging, demanding mother, impinged upon adults fail all coursework or drop out of school, they are probably manifesting the talionic impulse, a more severe and pervasive form of total retaliative resistance, the purpose of which is to punish the impinging enmeshed parents. So the mother's demanding. The mother wants all this from the child. I want you to do this, do good in school, study hard, and maybe she's doing it too abusively, and it's in his mind like that. So he goes to college and fails everything to get back at his mother. No mother. He's trying to push back the mother. No mother. So he fails his college only to get the mother voice out, like as a retaliation against the mother. That's why he was self-defeating. So he had to self-sacrifice his whole future career, because all he wanted to do is back off, mother. I'm tired of you telling me what to do. If I try to become successful, that's what you wanted, but you hurt me in the process of that. So I'm going to fail in my retaliation, in my talionic tit for tat back at you. So that's why he's hurting himself like that. Trying to hurt his mother, he's trying to hurt himself. So that now he's going to not have his degree or whatever. Again, so failure at school, failure at college, for example, may be one way the real self is trying, by the only means possible, to block progress toward fulfillment of their parents' demand for high academic achievement. It is a way for the clients to say no to their parents without being overtly disobedient. If these impinged upon college adults now fail their school or quit school or something, or do badly at school and all this, they are probably manifesting the talionic impulse, i.e. a more severe and pervasive form of total retaliative resistance, the purpose of which is to punish the impinging, enmeshed parents. Hang on, I think we had one yesterday as well from that. Let's see. Okay, let's do Elizabeth Howell's quote about identification with the aggressor, a term created by Sandra Ferenczi a long time ago. Ferenczi introduced the concept and term identification with the aggressor in his seminal Confusion of Tongues. Okay, let's clarify here. Confusion of tongues. Your double think we talked about is in there. The self and the mother, it's all blurred up. It can mix around like that. And others, you can project that onto others and mix it around like that. So this confusion of tongues, that's what he means by that. Like someone with a bully pattern. Okay? Mother shamed him, he identifies with her. Sees himself into others, shames them. Hocus pocus, confusion of tongues, double focus, flip flop. The one he just shamed, he will think is the mother who had hurt him back in the nursery. Now he's justified in his retaliation towards his mother, displacing the mother in the past to the person in the present, not seeing the person for who they are in the present, because his projection, he only sees his projection. When there's so much pain, you only see your projection. You don't see the reality of the people. You only see the projection. So the projection is the mother was a monster. Okay, the victim is suddenly flipped. Now it's the monster. Okay, so there's a thing called why people hate those whom they hurt. So they hurt someone innocent, now they hate them. It flips like that. Confusion of tongues. Ferenczi introduced the concept and term identification with the aggressor in his seminal Confusion of Tongues paper, in which he described how the abused child becomes transfixed and robbed of his senses. Having been traumatically overwhelmed, the child becomes hypnotically transfixed by the aggressor's wishes and behavior, automatically identifying by mimicry. So there's two stages. First, there's the trauma from the outside, and to deal with the pain of it, he identifies with the aggressor as a defensive process. Because if he's the active mother, he can trick himself to not feel the pain. If he's the active one, all he's got to do is find someone to play him. Let's go back to today's quotes. I'm going to flip back and forth between today's ones and yesterday's ones. Now this one by Dorothea MacArthur, burglar does something similar. Sometimes some of this self-defeating behavior is actually retaliation against the parents in your mind, like the mother in the mind. So if you are in pain, you're trying to hurt the mother inside. That's talionic response to your mother. So you're hurting yourself to hurt the mother within. If you look up we have a chapter of quotes called Psychologically Minded Film and TV Show Quotes. I remember one of them is from the TV show called Nashville, like a country music kind of thing. And we have the quotes from that show in that booklet, and you can find it if you do in the search engine here. I remember one of them is where the woman said to the guy, "Don't punish." So they broke up on all this, right? They were a couple. They broke up, and he was trying to make her feel guilty and all this. She said to him, "Don't punish me by punishing yourself." So he tried to get back at her by hurting himself, trying to make her feel guilty for breaking up, kind of thing. So he thought by being self-defeating, he can get back at her. He was trying to express his anger at her by making her feel guilty of the cause of breaking up like this. Now that guy, victimized by the breakup, that anger should be towards the mother, not her. So he displaces the mother to the girl and is angry at the girl. No, take it to the source. He was attracted to that girl to recreate and relive the pain with the mother, so he can know the pain with the mother. He recreated it by finding a woman who reminded him of his mother, replay the whole thing, get disappointed again, and now he can now experience the feelings that he originally had but forgot with the mother. So it's coming up. So this is the attempt to make the unconscious conscious. So once again, the baby and the mother are relating to each other. They're laying down neural circuits, neural pathways and all this, but it's frozen in relation to the real self. That's unfinished business. Okay? That's a struggle with the mother. It's unfinished business. So the wiring is there. Now embedded in that wiring is the blissful oneness, even though it's painful, emotional masochism. So there's a blissful oneness and the pain, the whole thing's frozen. Unfinished business. If in the present, somebody has a personality like the mother, that person in the present will be like a precipitant, like the trigger. It'll trigger that wiring with the mother. So that person in the present triggers up the blissful oneness that you've had with the mother. That's an amazing ecstatic feeling, right? Then you say to the person in the present, "Oh, you're the one, you're my first, you're my last, you're my everything." Play Barry White's song. So now you're love at first sight. This is called transference stuff. Okay, spellbound love, okay, puppy love, infatuation, romantic love, passion love, all this strong kind of feeling like this. Okay, and you're the one kind of feeling. That person in the present triggered that oneness you had with the mother. So you see the person in the present as an emotional reincarnation of the mother, or you transfer the mother to the person in the present. That's called transference stuff. And you're refeeling the wiring with the mother, and the person in the present triggers that. And so you're doing this because the person in the present, you say to them, you're the one, but please change. Please invent the time machine. Go back to the nursery and meet my needs, please. She can't do it. Oh, you're a heartbreaker. Now you're angry at her, and in the case of the Nashville example, I'm going to make you feel guilty by doing something harmful for myself to make you feel guilty, to get back at you. Okay, no, your anger at me, the girl would say, take it up to the source, take it to the mother. You were attracted to me to know how you felt with the mother, so take it to her, kind of thing. Take your anger towards the mother. Don't displace her onto me. So a lot of the anger people feel with the present people, it's actually brought up to know the true feeling with the mother you see in the past. Our song for this topic is the Doobie Brothers' song, "What a Fool Believes." About a year ago, we did 5 videos on just this point. We did 5 videos, 130 quotes, just on this topic called transfer and stuff. And I remember playing. I had that nice meeting room, so I could play the music. So we played "What a Fool Believes" by the band, the Doobie Brothers. And there's a very good cover of that song as well, which we played by a guy named, a singer named Jordan. He did like a peppier, revved up version of it. Okay, it's a similar idea. A man whose life outside therapy was unhappy and all this, wanted to deprive the therapist of the feeling of success in helping him. Yeah, so look at that, eh? The guy goes to the shrink and wants him to feel badly that he couldn't save him. So he'll deliberately make himself as difficult and uncooperative as possible to let the therapist feel he's a loser and a failure, because he felt like a loser and a failure. So he wanted to get back at his mother for that. So sees the mother onto the therapist. Okay, he felt like a failure by the mother, wants the shrink to feel like a failure. Same idea. So this is the whole talionic kind of thing, right? The absurdity of this dysfunctionality implies talionic imagos. The baby doesn't have an image of the mother as a mother. He has an image of the mother, only partly of the mother, but that image is way blown up. Alice in Wonderland, Miss Fairy Tales, into the Boar Queen, guy with the horns, the Cyclops in the Odyssey, etc. So the image of the mother is a devouring monster that wants to gobble him up. The mother's a hungry wolf. The baby creates image of his mother like that. Again, it's not reality. The mother didn't want to hurt the baby, but when she's misattuned or has a sneaky, covert talionic anger towards the baby, where she's getting back at the baby, she's getting even with her mother by using the baby as a stand-in for her mother, and she's attacking her baby, thinking she's attacking her mother unconsciously. Then the baby has an image of the mother as a devouring, dangerous, frightening monster. This next one here. An effective group therapy process is one in which members find it possible to take back their projections onto and into others so as to free themselves from the reciprocal talionic binds that accrue to the projections. Children need a non-talionic childhood. Babies need a non-emphasis and a non-talionic interaction with the mother. But a lot of mothers are engaged in a talionic. So let's go back to yesterday's quotes for a minute. Okay, let's do something general here. Some shrinks make the point that, believe it or not, the talionic response is actually a bit of an advance to what it was before. It was worse before. So from the talionic to the golden rule represents an advance. The next time you waste an evening watching TV, notice how often getting back or getting even makes up the underlying theme of the show. As a matter of fact, a talionic tit-for-tat response to injury was an ethical advance over more primitive forms of behavior. So the more abused the babies are, the more we're going to see this talionic impulse. The more loved the babies are, the less you'll see it. So we're more civilized, the more babies are loved. The more babies are traumatized, the more talionic mentalities are there. So babies need to get their needs met. Now, if a baby is traumatized, they gotta deal with this and face this and heal this and correct this kind of thing and get back their civilized place. From the perspective of the shrink community, the mastery, from the perspective of therapy, the mastery of the talionic impulse is a prerequisite for maturity and growing up. It is revenge which we sometimes confuse with justice and creates around us a sort of jungle mentality, the opposite of civil society. One cannot be called truly civilized until he or she has tamed the talionic response. So part of this, back to Paladin. Paladin, in that classic show, Have Gun Will Travel, right? The Paladin character. Paladin, Paladin, where do you roam? He was doing that a lot of the times, right? he would bump up into characters. This was like 1870s in the Old West or something like that. So he was the good guy. Trying to civilize the cruelty around him. So when there was cruelty around him, he said, this talionic thing that you feel, we're going to hand it over to a judicial kind of process, and let's send this criminal send him to the court system, and it's an advance to create a system to look for the justice of the case, because in the moment we don't want revenge all the time, because that leaves everybody blind, right? But we do want justice, so give it to some kind of judges and courts and all this. That's like a bit of an advance to the civilized mode, right? If we don't have that advance, then we're back to the whole Wild West nonsense. The talionic law may best be interpreted as a limit on punishment rather than a demand for it. And here's the idea where the talionic impulse has been sneakily, covertly been put to the children now. So while we don't engage in it outwardly, it's still going on to the children. It's like covert now. It seems that as long as you do not recognize or understand the harmful effects of what was done to you as a child, identification with the aggressor, you might repeat it. You may even justify it, like your parents did. Feeling justified, parents may lay traps, lie, duplicity, games people play, double binds, gaslighting, subterfuge, manipulation, all these threading, I'll do what I say or I'll leave you, corporal punishment, awful one, withdraw their love, abandon them, isolation, distrust, humiliation, scorn, ridicule, coercion, etc. And a whole long list, right? Frequently, these methods are employed unwittingly through a lack of understanding of the real needs of the child, because the mother is so flooded with the talionic impulse. She's so flooded with this talionic. She wants to get back her identity. Now, what's her identity? Her identity is to do to others what was done to her. That's why she's going to attack her child, because that gives her an identity. When mother traumatized her, she lost her true identity. All she has is fake identity. So it's some identity. She doesn't know her true identity anymore, so all she has is fake identity. So she sees the baby, she wants to preserve her fake identity. So shame the baby the way the mother had shamed her, because she's become the shaming mother, and that's her new identity, this fake thing. So the talionic thing seems to be very closely synonymous with this just described. As these socially sanctioned expressions of the talionic impulse disappeared, the compulsion was transferred to child rearing practices. Alice Miller, 1983, quote, "When we examine the child rearing literature of the past 200 years, we discover the methods that have been used to make it impossible for children to realize and later remember the way they were actually treated by their parents. The talionic impulse has found a new home in our child rearing practices." It's amazing. Your shift perception changes a little bit. You see mothers carrying 1-month-old babies in public, kind of thing, right? Like, that's talionic. The baby needs a blissful skin, a warm rhythm of safety, skin to skin. If the baby's dressed up, you're breaking the skin to skin contact. If the bottle's used, you're breaking it. And you go in public with all these noises like that, and there might be some accidents like that. Well, maybe she wants the accident. Maybe she feels angry and justified to use the baby as a status symbol or something. One mother didn't want to breastfeed because she wanted to go to the office and seduce the guys at the office to have control over them. Seduction has power. So she's talionic against the baby, rejecting the baby's needs. Again, she doesn't see the needs of the baby because her perceptual apparatus is diminished, and she only sees her projection of her old needs. Her old need is to have an identity. What's her identity? Be the mother. What's the mother? Mother shamed her. So shame others. So as a baby, she shames the baby. Throughout history, parents have created religious and civil laws or practices to legitimize the expression of their talionic impulses toward their children. Expressions such as spare the rod and spoil the child were probably used to hide this cruelty. So it's an excuse. Shall I compare thee to an onion? The deeper reason is to have an excuse to express their talionic impulse, because it gives them an identity. The mother lost her identity, identifies with the aggressor. Oh, we don't want to spoil the child, right? No, that's just an excuse to treat the child badly because her mother treated her badly. Okay, here's the one where babies need a non-talionic. I like this one here. The internalization of the experience of non-talionic relating nourishes psychically, mentally, emotionally, etc. The young self develops through a good enough holding environment, maternal holding environment, which can be envisioned as a good breast, which allows the infant the experience of being held and loved and all this without undue fear of retaliation or undue regard to placating the mother for their survival. So the baby doesn't have to say, "Mother, do I have to give up me, sacrifice me to please you? Do I got to save you and cure you and help you and do what you want? Do I got to sacrifice myself?" And there's a self-help book entitled that. It literally says, "Do I have to give up me to be loved by you?" That's talionic. That's talionic stuff. This allows the young self securely to experience the freedom to express him or herself as an authentic being. So now the baby can be real. He can have his real authentic self. This total situation in turn becomes the basis for the potential eventually to develop an ethical capacity. Okay, empathy. Obviously, you have empathy. If the mother respects the baby, that's ethical, obviously. When these conditions are not met, pathologies of the self arise, such as the false self, the as-if personality, etc. Why abuse patterns of behavior are often repeated generation after generation. This compulsion to repeat is also called the talionic impulse, and may be one of the deepest and most ancient of human impulses to get back by inflicting on others weaker than you the hurt you experienced when you were weak. So the baby was weak, mother hurt him, now they want to hurt others and see others as weak to have an identity. In the client with the bully pattern, stinger personality pattern, etc., there is a failure to master the talionic impulse. Instead, he or she continually repeats the trauma. That's talionic. Their whole life is talionic, right? With those the stinger personality patterns. Think about the cynic, always needing to put others down, shaming humor, put down humor, okay, always mocking others and scapegoating others. Okay. saying, finding fault in others, shaming others, hating vulnerability in others, shaming. Okay, this is like a lifelong talionic response to what had happened to them. You see, that happened to them. Mother did that to them. They do that to others. That's a talionic. So it's blurred in. The talionic phenomena, it's kind of synonymous with the dynamics of identification with the aggressor and treating others the way you were treated. It seems to be the same kind of thing. Elizabeth, how are we doing here? Let's see. 440. Okay. Masterson defines the narcissistic personality pattern as grandiose, excessively self-involved, with a lack of interest or empathy with others. Underneath this facade is an empty child full of envy and rage. In other words, the narcissistic pattern is a defense mechanism. So those catwalk models underneath, they feel envious and rageful, and they're using seduction as a setup for the rejection. So seduction flips to rejection. So don't be too allured by seductress kind of characters, because they're just wanting to reject you. Because the prototype, this baby was allured, had the promise, mother, are you going to nurse me? No. Okay, seduction, rejection. And that's that template, that blueprint is in there. So if a woman is doing that, seduce or reject or something, that's for them to know that they were allured by the mother and rejected by the mother. So the baby was looking for the mother's nipple, womb, a rubber nipple, not the real one. Seduction, rejection. The baby expected the natural mother's real breast mother nipple, right? Instead, no, rejection. There's the rubber nipple. Baby cries, what's this? Okay, stop crying, baby. And she puts honey on the rubber nipple to overstimulate the baby's brain to release serotonin by the sugar, salt, and fat, to trick the baby to think he's safe by the surplus food, and he's getting the safety by that. It's a trick. That's a huge betrayal. So seduction, rejection, like this. So that's one of Fairbairn's points, that the rejecting mother is subsplit into the alluring, enticing mother and the rejecting, refusing mother. So and the alluring part of the mother is blended in with the allured child, okay? And it flips over. Then after the allurement, you get the rejecting mother, and then you felt shamed by her, rejected by her. Helping others learn how to heal the psychological wounds and how to manage their talionic response in non-violent ways. So one definition of forgiveness is here. Forgiveness is the decision to forego the personal pursuit of punishment for the perpetrators of a perceived injustice, taking action on that decision and experiencing the emotional relief that follows. Here's the one by the Navajo people. So the Navajo people were very advanced, way more advanced than people think. So one Navajo elder points out that his people's word for justice, usually translated as reparation, is actually a verb. A verb. It's a verb. Justice is a verb, meaning to enter into a respectful discussion of the hurt. Navajo law focuses less on punishment and more on healing and reintegration with the group, working to restore relationships between all involved. Every person has an innate desire to be whole and is always working in his or her best way, albeit unskilled, to become whole. That's the positive intention. The person finds proxies to cry for love and they shame them They're seeking wholeness. They're seeking to get their needs met. So it's unskillful, because it's not skillful to find someone else to cry for you and say no to them. How on earth do you get your needs met? How on earth? Okay, now the exception is you notice that that's part of your story. Now you're getting narrative medicine. So now you're trying to heal, because if you do to others what your mother did to you, now you know what your mother did to you. So now you're working towards healing. Is that it? Next one here. The infant's symbiotic relationship with the mother. Well, once again, the baby has a symbiotic relationship with the mother. The behavioral metaphor conveyed by the grandiose self, so from the self side, from the baby's self side, is I'm perfect and you admire me. Yeah, so think about the catwalk model. I'm perfect and all you people with your cameras, you admire me. So the baby feels special and chosen, I'm perfect, and mother loves them and adores them and admires them. From the angle of the other end, okay, meaning from the parental side, whereas the behavioral metaphor conveyed by the idealized parental image amounts to, you are perfect and I am a part of you. Okay, so in the catwalk model, the people with the cameras, okay, she's perfect and I'm a part of her. Okay? So they're still frozen at that place where they didn't get those needs met of symbiosis with the mother. So there's a symbiotic phase of development. Okay, this is resolved at 18 months. If there's trauma before 18 months, they're stuck there. So they go to the model show, okay, watch the catwalk girl, and they say what the baby says. Oh, you're perfect and I'm a part of you. I'm a baby, mother's perfect, I'm a part of you, we're one. They're still looking for the symbiosis. Now this is all symbolic, it doesn't work, it's gonna fail. So disappointed, repetition compulsion, next week they go again, next week they go again. It doesn't work, so they can spend their whole lives admiring models or something. It's not gonna work, kind of thing. Now, from the catwalk girl's point of view, okay, that's the child's side. She's saying, I am perfect, and you, dear audience, admire me. You're the mother. See, so it's flipped, right? So the model is the baby, and the audience is the mother. The baby model says, I'm perfect, and you admire me, mother, audience. The audience says, no, it's the other way. I'm the baby, and you're the good mother, and I'm a part of you, and you love me, and we're one. Whoever or whatever initiated the integrated process, once started, it eased the pressure to cling to a reciprocal. Okay, let's forget that. Okay. It has been said that our children are the best teachers because they bring up in us everything that was left unresolved in our childhood. Yeah. That was just sort of an extra loose one. Is that it? Oh yeah, okay. One shrink had a talionic response to the client. So the client saw his unloved self to the shrink. The client identified with the aggressor was shaming the shrink, meaning he was shaming himself, using the shrink as a proxy for him, where he plays the aggressive mother. Now the shrink didn't interpret this. He missed it and felt triggered by this and wanted to lash back at a talionic response by calling him fill in the blank. Then the therapy fails. If the shrink doesn't interpret it, there's going to be a full droit. It's going to get all messed up. It's not going to work. The contempt you display toward those who are smaller and weaker helps you deny your own feelings of helplessness. if you were not afraid of these feelings, you could allow yourself to feel the feelings and begin to understand where they are coming from instead of puffing up and acting angry toward a weaker person. Interestingly, you may not even know you have these feelings of helplessness, jealousy, loneliness lurking inside of you until something appears as a trigger for it. So those are the stinger personality patterns. All that hate and contempt they have for anybody who shows any humanness, okay, they got to know that what they see and hate, it belongs to them. It's too painful to admit it. So projection is the means of bringing repressed material to consciousness. What they're projecting, that's for them to know what's within. Okay? As above, so below, inside out. Okay. How are we doing now? I think that's about it, yeah. This turned out to be quite a short video. It feels like a long... Today's a strange video, eh? It's only the last time I was here, I did a 5-hour plus video. It was a good one. Check out the last spaceship video we did here. I think that was a good one, I thought. I think it's 2780. It's a 5-hour and 17-minute video, I think, I've done here. That was one of the better videos, I thought. The last one, no, it was the 81 video. It's okay a little bit, but the one before, I had guava juice. That was my spinach, right? I was feeling good. I'm tempted just to sort of leave it here for today. Let's see. Again with Elizabeth Howell. Elizabeth Howell is the author of the book called The Dissociative Mind, a very good book by Elizabeth Howell. Sandor Ferenczi introduced the concept and term identification with the aggressor in his seminal paper entitled Confusion of Tongues, in which he described how the abused child... It's amazing how many babies are being abused. And mothers create excuses and rationalizations. Oh, nothing wrong. What are you talking about? Mother's rights. Mother knows best. Yeah, that's the talionic. That's the covert talionic anger towards the mother. And now the child is being scapegoated by this. So many mothers are scapegoating their children. In which he described how the abused child becomes transfixed and robbed of his senses. Okay, he doesn't know or feel or anything. He's numb now and empty. Huh? Having been traumatically overwhelmed, disassociated, trying to escape where there's no escape, nothing left of him, floating in the air maybe, the child becomes hypnotically stuck. So some people call it adhesive identification. Some shrinks call it adhesive, like crazy glue. It's the tar pit of a negative union with the mother, a negative symbiosis. Having been traumatically overwhelmed, the child becomes hypnotically transfixed by the aggressive mother's wishes and behavior, and then mimics it. And that's his defense. So mimicking the mother is defense against the pain of the mother. So the mother had a talionic response to the baby, identifies with the aggressor, and has a talionic response to everything and everybody. And that's why we're destroying the planet. So we can save the planet if the mothers can love their babies. Then they won't grow up and buy stocks in Franken foods and things. Yeah, because one of the last decent foods I found was the guava juice, the fresh pressed guava juice. Now that's gone. Oh my God, man. Jesus Christ. So once again, this has been around for a long time. This talionic idea has been around a long time, and there's an improvement because we put a limit to it by saying, okay, eye for an eye, but that leaves everybody blind still. So we're not there yet. It's an aberration. This talionism is a sign of trauma. We're homotraumicus. What are the symptoms of homotraumicus? Is this talionicism? Now, this talionicism is really mainly for those with a stinger personality pattern. But a lot of people have a stinger personality pattern. A lot of people have it. Some estimates are like 50% of the babies in North America, 50% of the babies in North America have an insecure attachment style. No, hang on. 80%. No, that's right. 50% of the babies in North America, roughly, are developing a stinger personality pattern. Hence the phrase "age of narcissism." There's so much narcissism. Marie-Louise von Franz mentioned in one of her books that when she has a narcissistic client, in whatever form it takes, the Peter Pan one, doesn't want to grow up, or playing into tall God, whatever form it is, she says, oh, I see, well, you think you're a little god, and he thinks he's a little god, and that one thinks he's a god, and he thinks he's a god, and he thinks he's a little god. Geez, you guys are a dime a dozen, so how are you so special if you're all like... And I'm assuming, maybe ballpark, generally speaking, there's probably more body tension. Clingers and pleasers can be tense in their body. No, yeah, we can't do that. Doesn't work, right? Yeah, that doesn't work. That's just sort of a trait that can be applied to any type. The body tension. That doesn't work. Right? You got to look at the humor. That's a clue. Their slogans, that's a clue. My greed or your greed. Entitlement. Who cares? Attitudes. Either or thinking. I'm good, you're no good. Okay, that's just, if their humor is kind of dark. Okay. It's a kind of a surprise that there's so many films that are so violent like this, blowing off steam in a talionic way. See, that's the stinger personality pattern. At least have some kind of narrator, at least have some kind of comment in these shows to help people be aware of the psychoanalysis of what they're seeing. Like, make people use films and things to teach people stuff. Don't let people blindly indulge in the fantasy of blowing off steam, and they got to do it again. They buy another film, do it again. You're just stuck in this endless, because you're not healing this way. So most TV is just escapism to get you away from your personal life. It's not interpretive, it's not healing you, it's not enlightening you, it's not making you a better person. It's just helping you to get away from the problems of your life in the moment. Rare exceptions, I guess. Now, literature is a little better, because in literature, you can find more interpretive literature. Although most literature is escapism. most literature is also, so there's two types of literature, escapism literature and what they call interpretive literature, like the Ibsen story and the Peer Gynt and the Faust story. Let's see how we're doing here. 5 o'clock. Yeah, I'll finish. I think I'm gonna finish soon. Yeah, last time I came here, they brought down the foods, all the foods, at around 5:15. Right? So let's leave in 10 minutes. Let's see. Okay, what else? Yeah, that's not a bad one here by Rinsley. In this symbiosis, one way of saying it is this. The baby says, I'm perfect, and mother, you admire me. We're one. And he says, mother, you're perfect, and I'm a part of you. So imagine this with the catwalk thing. All right. Here's a tough one. Forgiveness is the decision to forego the personal pursuit of punishment, taking action on that decision, and experiencing the emotional relief, freedom, the emotional freedom that follows. Can you do that, right? Because otherwise, you're like a micro version of the Middle Ages. That's what Masterson says. People with the talionic response, they're emotionally in the Middle Ages. He didn't say it directly like that, but I think he kind of inferred it a little bit. Because when Masterson was talking about his clients with the talionic response, he then did like a sidebar thing where he talked about all the talionism that took place in the Middle Ages. But civilized, we evolved from that time. We progressed and civilized. But now the traumatized client is kind of like back like that. So he's like a micro. So we got to heal him to move to be civilized. Like this affinito quote. This Miss Affinito. Interesting name. Affinito. Yeah, that's her definition of forgiveness. Forgiveness is the decision to forego the personal pursuit of punishment for the perpetrator, taking action on that decision, and experiencing the emotional relief that follows. See, she's kind of nudging you a little bit with that quote. So understand, know yourself, be a detective, know yourself, know them. Why did they do this? Okay. Yesterday's quote is good. Yesterday we opened up with this quote here. An old adage that says, quote, an old adage that says, you can't fix something until you know how it was broken. Again, you can't fix something until you know how it was broken. Without an understanding of what really happens to you and why your mother treated you the way she did, there is little hope of fixing the brokenness you may feel. Same with the father. Without an understanding of what happened to you and why your father treated you the way he did, there is little hope of fixing the brokenness you may feel. That's yesterday's quote. Now, 2782. You'll find this in yesterday's video. The video entitled 2782, the first one there. Oh. Oh, by a self-help author, Barry Weinhold. Just discovered him. Yeah, the baby needs a non-talionic mother. A non-talionic mother. A loving mother. She's got to heal herself. She's got to be aware of this. The mother who uses the breast pump and doesn't want to hold her baby, that's talionic. Helping adults learn how to heal the psychological wounds and how to manage their talionic response in non-violent ways, in peaceful ways. Masterson, James F. Masterson places great emphasis on the client's ability to recognize, work through, and ultimately subdue powerful talionic impulses and needs directed toward the self and by displacement from the parents toward others, including the earth, including the therapist, including the children. That's not a bad one. So that's our lead quote here. That's a good one by Rinsley. Masterson says the client must make a choice between getting back or getting better. He cannot have both. See, a lot of people will argue with this. No, if I get back, I'm getting better. Oh no, that's not true. You're hurting yourself. He must give up the idea of revenge and free his energy to be used to support himself rather than attack it. He's attacking himself with revenge, believe it or not. That's a tough one, I think, for people to... Eventually, you can use your energy for your life, for your real self. Yeah, back to Dorothea MacArthur. Failure may also be another part. Oh yeah, we did this one already. All right, about the college student who wanted to punish the mother by failing school because the mother was so demanding. You know, part of me says, let's go to the other place. I was also thinking of, there's a little parkette not too far from here. I don't really like getting people in the camera kind of thing. Well, I think this time I'm just going to wind it down here this time and leave it as it is. Okay, so this is so this is part 2 of a 2-video run on the topic of what's called the talionic impulse or talionic feeling or talionic phenomena, talionic response, talionicism, whatever we want to call it. It's basically anger and at the loss of your identity. So you're going to be angry at others. Your mother was angry at you, and you have an identity because now you're one with the mother. So identification with the aggressor and the talionic response seem to be sort of synonymous. So unknowingly, I've been talking about the talionic phenomena all throughout. I just never used the term. But Masterson, I think, he's the first one to really say this. Like to specifically use that term, the talionic issue. If the person's going to heal, they got to understand, forgive, and now in society there's a difference between revenge and justice. So there's a difference like that. So society deals with it, with the system, the court system and all that, to be objective and decide what's fair and all this, to balance mercy and punishment and all this. Now, countries that are pillaged and plundered, they have a lot of stress, so their resources are limited, right? So so we have an important video, 2725, TQ 2725. It's a 7.5 hour video. It's about the 48 symptoms of homo traumacus. I'm now thinking this one here can be the 49th symptom, the talionic phenomena. It's just to just highlight it, that this is not normal. This is a problem. This is not normal. Even the Navajo wouldn't do it. Oh, someone made a mistake, that means they're wounded, they're crying, they're damaged, they're in pain and all this. So what can we do to kind of integrate things and heal things? How can we help them, basically? But your instinct is, why should we help him? Look at all the harm he did. Well, they regard the criminal as in need of healing. So they had a whole elaborate system of dream catchers, and song, dance, and ritual, and shamanic leaders, and maybe there was trance, and maybe there was a hallucinogen. Maybe they know how to do it all for that guy. And I think they would reenact. I think what they did was they would reenact a whole odyssey, like a whole fairy tale, a whole story kind of thing. And that criminal guy, he'd be like the protagonist in it, and everybody in there is like a part of the story, and he's got to play a character in a healing story, and they got to do this whole dramatic thing, and with the whole drama of it all, and beating the drum all the time, being hypnosis, maybe he can regress to an infantile place, and start over again, I guess, somehow. I'm not sure how they do it. Yeah, there is a whole book on indigenous peoples' shamanic rituals and all this. There's a lot of suggestion. There's a lot of hypnosis. Not hypnosis. It's the power of suggestion. It's the power of the placebo effect. It's the power of belief. It's the power of the whole group involved in this. Maybe we have a teeny glimpse of it in the idea of intervention, right? Like if one guy is an addict or something, and the whole community, the 100 people of them, meet together in one place, and they bring him there, and the 100 people are there to say, look, we're all here to identify. You have a problem here. Doesn't work, does it, usually, right? But it seems to be an echo, some kind of echo of it. I think I'm reminded of the Drop Dead Diva show we discussed recently. I think they tried to do it with that Stacy character, I remember. She became like a catwalk model, like a famous star, and had an arrogant, inflated superiority complex and had contempt. She had contempt for everybody because her mother had contempt for her. So she was addicted to this and treating everybody badly in a talionic response. So Jane had to do like an intervention kind of thing. It didn't work, right? But she tried, right? Not a bad TV show called Drop Dead Diva, right? So these quotes are helping us to be our own psychological Jane Bingham, psychological Columbo, psychological Perry Mason, psychological Carl Betts, the guy in Judd for the Defense, a very good legal drama called Judd for the Defense. The actor was Carl Betts. Did a great job, a very psychologically minded show. It's on YouTube. The video quality isn't too good, no DVD, but one of the better legal shows. Actually, yeah, it's still pretty hot outside. If I walk outside, and you'll see me sweating in no time. I'm not in the mood really. Let's do it another time. I so wish I could interview James F. Masterson to clarify and teach this phenomena of how a person is supposed to right? Helping adults learn how to heal the psychological wounds and how to manage their talionic response. This one here. Oh, back to affinito. That's one again. To leave the talionic impulse unconsidered is to fail the client. So she's saying here, quoting Masterson, I think, or maybe it's her own idea. But it's synonymous with what Masterson was saying. Masterson strongly says you want to heal the client, you got to address identification with the aggressor and help them unblend from the mother. Only the mourning process does that. But how do you do the mourning process? You got to have a sense of self. How do you get a sense of self? Well, you need interpretations, and you got to construct your story, piece it together, be a detective. Okay, that's called reconstruction. Rumpelstiltskin, close enough, and then you can differentiate. As you differentiate, sadness is at the console. The work of mourning is about remembering. You admit it. The truth will upset you free. Mother failed you. Mother betrayed you. Mother was talionic on you. Now why? To leave the talionic impulse unconsidered is to fail the client. And today's one, Masterson places great emphasis on the client's ability to recognize, work through, and ultimately resolve or subdue powerful talionic feelings directed toward both themselves, because they're one with the mother, so it's directed towards themselves to get back at the mother, or at the same time, mother seen outwardly, including the earth, including their own children. So the mothers gaslighting their children, putting their babies in double binds, okay, not meeting their needs, bottle schedule. These are excuses. Things like bottle and schedule, that's talionic stuff. You create an excuse. Oh no, it's important to give them a schedule, give them a routine, give them some regular. That's an excuse, nonsense. Shall I compare thee to an onion? Underneath, it's the talionic. They're expressing their hate towards the mother, displacing it to the child. So the child is being scapegoated in their talionicism. So you got to heal these women. So in other words, babies need a non-talionic mother. A non-talionic relating nourishes. Non-talionic relating nourishes the baby. Non-talionic relating nourishes the baby. Mentally, emotionally, psychologically, physically, etc. So part of the forgiveness process is finding the third side of the coin. The third side of the coin, every story has two sides. Look for the two sides and hold the two. That's the third side of the coin which holds the two. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to look up TQ 2599 and read the 11 quotes we have from the TV show Route 66. In particular, the first 5 in particular. In that first set, there's one about the third side of the coin. Some of the best quotes in our collection come from that TV show right there. Your mission. Another classic TV show, right? Yeah, this, Rinsley, we have 2 good quotes from Rinsley today, yeah. The first one, and this one about this symbiotic relationship with the mother. Yeah. Way to go, Rinsley, all right, yeah. Underappreciated author. He's got 2 books, Rinsley. Actually, Rinsley and Masterson did one article together, a very good article. And we have those quotes in our collection, that article. Dorothea MacArthur, Althea Horner, Rinsley, Solani, Masterson, Fairbairn, etc. Their focus is also on object relations theory. Object relations theory is the study of the internalization of interpersonal relationships. The interpersonal leads to the interpsychic, which expresses itself or shows itself later on in our dealings. The blueprint, you're going to see the blueprint in your dealings later on. So psychoanalysis is the study of all this, because we want to heal this blueprint. We don't want to be stuck with a traumatic blueprint that keeps us in this loop all the time. We got to face this, identify it, give the past a time and a place, capture. That's Lowell calls that laying the ghost to rest. Now it's an ancestor. Now your feeling can be free for the present. Now you can love life in the present. Well, I'm thinking let's close this. Yeah, this another. Maybe it's this recent heat wave. That, the heat wave just started. Maybe I'm feeling the effects of it. Maybe that's what it is. So my last very good video I thought was 2780. If you want a good video where I was in a fresh, energized mood, I'd go to 2780. So Robert Bly says, read psychology every day for 10 minutes. So in each video, we have roughly 10 minutes worth of reading in each video. So we have 1,000 videos here. So if you spend 10 minutes a day and pluck out one quote a day, in 3 years you can have your own customized, personalized, your own personal 1001 Windmills of the Mind. And I would think, you know, maybe when someone has that, maybe they can present it. Maybe they can make a video and say, I'm going to present my 1001 Windmills of the Mind. Their favorite top 1001 quotes from our 10,000 batch, right? So we got 10,000 in the encyclopedia. My sincere hope is that 1 out of 10 will be of interest. Find those 1 out of 10 and maybe share it and make a video about it. Share them. Some of them or all of them. That'd be nice to see, yeah. I'd love to see that. So you can get the quotes on this channel here. Just click the more link. All the quotes are there for each video. For convenience, one can get the whole file for just a small, minimal administrative fee. So the link is there for that. I especially encourage anyone to get this collection because I'm noticing a lot of good psychology books are being withdrawn from digital libraries. Like Masterson's books have all been withdrawn. Like, oh my God. Not just him, I'm talking thousands of analytic psychology books are being withdrawn. Huge mistake, leave it up there. It might be part of the talionic feeling. Don't let people heal, let them suffer. These books help people to heal, don't let them heal. So the people doing this might have a talionic feeling. These are older books. Authors would be thrilled to have the material available to others. That's why part of the reason why they wrote it. These are soul doctors who are trying to heal us. 90% of these quotes are from the shrinks. 90% of these quotes are from medical doctors who specialize in the talking cure. I'm not talking about shrinks who do the pill pushing thing. Not those shrinks. I'm talking about the talking cure shrinks, the analytic shrinks, who help you with your story, who give you transference interpretations, linking your pattern with when it began, and then to see a live, here and now, current example of it being enacted in the present, and you link it all up. You have this pattern. You learned it back then, and that's why you're doing this now in the present. Roughly 10% of the quotes are from self-help authors, like this new one here, Weinhold, first time using his quotes. Like Martha Stark as well. Martha Stark. No, Martha Stark is a medical doctor, right? We did 7 videos recently on the work of Martha Stark. 26 videos on the work of Arthur Janoff. Now, he wasn't a medical doctor. He only has a PhD in psychology. So I consider his books sort of in the self-help area. Although to my surprise, he says in the book that he engaged in psychoanalytic, he used the psychoanalytic model before, but he doesn't say where he got his analytic training ever. I never saw it. So maybe he's just speaking in general terms. So as far as I can tell, either he did get psychoanalytic training and didn't want to tell anyone, or he's just saying he read it and included it in his therapy approach or something. But anyways, he did an incredible thing, Janoff. 16 books. 1970 was the first one, called The Primal Scream, the one that made him famous and all this. But he's got a lot of good books from that time, 1970 up to 2016. His final book was called Beyond Belief, written at the age of 92, 1 year before he passed away. Very good book, another hard to find book. His other books include The Feeling Child, Prisoners of Pain, kind of a tip-off to Alice Miller's book called Prisoners of Childhood. Primal Man, was it? Primal Healing. Biology of Love. Life Before Birth. I think those are the main ones. I haven't read all of his, not all of his books are available actually. Yeah, okay, let's just maybe wind that up here for today. I'm thinking I'm going to try to do another set of quotes on the talionic phenomena. I really want to get a better grasp of it for myself. It's kind of like the elephant in the room, right? In the psychotherapy room. Not many people talk about it. So when Masterson talks about it, okay, he's one of our mentors. He's one of the greatest shrinks of all time, in my opinion. If you can, and they're taking away his books. Can you believe it? He wrote one self-help book entitled "The Search for the Real Self." Okay, so obviously that has won a golden Windmills of the Mind award. That one. In the final chapter of that book, he actually talks about Edward Munch, the screen painting guy, the artist who drew the screen painting. I mentioned at the beginning of this video, that painting received the most amount of money for any paint. The most amount of money ever spent for a painting was that one. So it's flash frozen inside. The trauma's flash frozen like that. Janov says you want to somehow feel that with your consciousness. It's still there. The frozen woolly mammoth is still there. You want to release the woolly mammoth. You want to free your feelings like that. That's called catharsis, emotional catharsis. A positive, genuine, I mean. Let's see. 5:30. Yeah, okay. This is a good time to end the video. The guests are going to start coming in soon. So I'll see you in the next video. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to read psychology every day for 10 minutes. To forgive psychology for its jargon, just to forgive it, says Robert Bly. And I'll see you in the next video.